Hosts Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome in to Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you on a Thursday afternoon, an icy Thursday afternoon here in the Mid-South with all of that winter weather we've had. It started off as snow. Now it's turning into ice, very dangerous outside on the roadways, even on the sidewalks. I mean, just trying to walk, a lot of people slipping and falling, cars sliding, so definitely be safe out there if you are out and about. But like I said, you're with Sports Time for the next 3 hours. Bryant Dacus, Brett Norsworthy with you. No Johnny Hill today. He'll be back tomorrow. Brett, how are you doing this afternoon?
Brian, I'm doing well. Johnny down in South Haven, and it is for keeps down there today. It may be the eye of the storm, kind of down Highway 78, but it's a lot of eyes and a lot of storms this morning. It was no doubt the worst of any of the days. Not as cold, but that was the problem with the freezing rain and what appeared to be clear, maybe was a good path. The last few days, you could be injured on foot very quickly and in your car, and it was quite the ordeal for a lot of people, especially moving this morning. We don't have near the number of traffic issues and accidents to report this morning that Greg and Eli had, but if we have anything that comes up, we will.
Absolutely.
And not a first. I've seen it a time or two around here, but the very rare. For anybody in sports, tonight the Memphis Tigers play at home. The 10th ranked Memphis Tigers, winners of 10 in a row. They're playing at home, and out of a lot of precaution, just public service, they are advising, they are wishing for people not to come to the game.
Yeah.
And it's just very rare in sports when you have the, because that ticket and those concessions, That's real money, but they are, and not only, I mentioned concessions, they're saying don't show and limited, if any, concessions tonight. So, but they would really prefer you not be there tonight, and everybody, if you do decide to go, abundance of caution and be really careful, because all that, it's going to refreeze, and again, it looked like it looks like it's clear, and it's not, and you could be injured, and you'd be at the orthopedist tomorrow morning.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. I've heard a lot of people seeing people fall while they're trying to walk around. Johnny Radio earlier today was saying that he walked out of his house this morning and fell, and his back's all sore now. So, I mean, it really is dangerous out there. And you're right about the Tigers.
That's a slow Thursday for Johnny Radio.
Yes. No, it's
compounding down the steps like that.
Certainly a slow Thursday for him. But you're right about the Tigers. I think the right move with how bad it is out there. The right move. But here's the official tweet from Tiger Athletics. Tonight's Memphis basketball game against South Florida will be played as scheduled at 6 p.m., airing on ESPN. Due to winter weather conditions, fans are encouraged to stay home and cheer the Tigers on ESPN. Information on exchanging tickets for tonight's game for a future game this season will be communicated by the Memphis ticket office in the coming days. So if you can't make it tonight, and they're certainly advising you not to, you can still, cash in on those tickets for another game. And it goes on to say limited concessions. The band's not going to be there. Cheerleaders, dance team won't be performing. The in-game promotions are going to be very limited. So they are definitely trying everything they can to make sure the Tiger fans are staying safe tonight.
And just can understand all that. And I think very wise of the university, of the athletics department, under the direction of Laird Veach, that's smart. And tonight, just stay at home and enjoy. And it's quite the Memphis night on television tonight.
Sure
the Tigers
is.
With that 6 o'clock window, and then at 9 o'clock on TNT will be the Grizzlies in Minnesota. And who would have ever believed our weather is more crummy than Minneapolis?
I wouldn't have thought that. But you're right, Brett. It's a great setup tonight. I mean, you can get the game on ESPN at 6 o'clock, dial in a little after 8 or so, maybe get some food in you, and then get ready for Minnesota and the Grizzlies.
That's right. Get the fire right inside in the fireplace.
That's right.
Maybe on the grill, definitely. But how much chili do you think's been consumed this
Too much.
week? I've had a bunch myself. Of course, I could about make it a meal from every meal from Halloween to Easter. that's my chili consumption months. But yeah, just stay in and enjoy and be really careful because this morning, just in a blink of an eye, when you don't realize that your car is in a spin, and it was so much worse, and it always has been. And that's the thing about people that kind of pick at us about we freak out over a quarter of an inch, not necessarily the snow. That you had to be really careful Sunday night, Monday morning. You had to be really careful on all of it. But when that ice, when just a little bit of it, and you don't know it, you're going to hit it until it's too late.
Yeah, no, and I think that's what kind of caught a lot of people off guard because, a lot of people have been saying these last couple of days, okay, well, it's not real bad to drive on because it's just snow, and then overnight we get hit with that freezing rain, and the roads just become a sheet of ice out there. And I think it caught a lot of people off guard this morning. I was watching, the local news this morning while I was getting ready, and they were showing a lot of videos of cars sliding and kind of
it was just
control.
Disaster.
It was everywhere.
Demolition derby.
Yeah, it really was. One of my buddies texted me and said he was going to pick his girlfriend up, and that he said there was a wreck on every block just because people are sliding around and don't know how to drive in. And so definitely want to be safe out there.
I told you the story. I can remember one time it got icy, and at the building here we had somebody kind of parked on the higher side, and the car slid.
Well, that's terrifying. It's a scary situation.
And just real bad. And one year, about this time of year, I think a little bit later, more February, not much later, but Tigers were playing at the Pyramid, early days of the Pyramid, I want to say against St. Louis U. And like this, but even worse with the freezing rain, and the Pyramid looked like the world's largest igloo. the outside of it, and for me to get on to take the exit up to get on the new bridge to get to Arkansas, it took like 45 minutes to get from the Pyramid to calling myself on the new bridge. And I've been stopped on every slab of the new bridge, going and coming.
Yes, you have. It's definitely a mess out there. But even though they're advising people to stay home, a big game for the Tigers is now 10th in the country, a top 10 team looking to extend that winning streak, and they'll go up against USF tonight.
Yeah, and I'm not on scary USF alert, but all due respect and all that good stuff. But I'm not that concerned about that game tonight, and I'll get to it in my top story in a bit. But the net just begs you to go out and blast a team like this.
They do, and now I think we've seen that that's how it works. I mean, you've gone out there, you've gotten wins, you've gotten good wins, but then you go out against Wichita State and you blow them out, and look, you shoot up in the net, and so hopefully maybe the Tigers will take a different approach to it and start blowing teams out.
Yeah, and that's what it responds to. That's what it likes. I guess you have to do it, and that's hard to control as well. It's hard to want to leave guys in there for too much longer. You got a big road trip this weekend.
Yeah, a big one, and we talked about that yesterday. The game this weekend, and then you against Tulane down in New Orleans, and then you turn right around, and you got that week off, and then you go to UAB, and that's going to be a huge week off for the Tigers when you have those two back-to-back road games. And Brett, think about last year. We were hoping this team would be all right on the road at Tulane to start the conference season on New Year's Day of all days, where the time you don't want to be a college head coach and have your team down in New Orleans on New Year's Eve. But now they'll get them this weekend, and then they'll have that week off where they can really kind of dial things in before a big road game against UAB.
It won't be another time this year to have a week off.
Yeah, that's right. And it's really going to get real after this week. We know how tricky conference schedules are for any team in the country, but to be able to play a couple games in conference and then get that week off, I think is massive for the Tigers.
And the Grizzlies in Minneapolis tonight at Minnesota, and the start of I'd always tell Rob Fisher this when we worked together for years. This is the overcoat, glove, ski cap road trip at Minnesota, at Chicago, at Toronto.
Yeah, but now This week you need the overcoat and the gloves
At home.
here. I mean, you need it everywhere, but no.
Might even need it in Miami on Wednesday night. I mean,
really
record lows down in Florida. Phew.
Yeah, but that road trip starts tonight, and the Timberwolves, we've seen how well they've been playing. One of the better teams in really all of basketball right now, and so it's going to be a challenge for these young guys. But one thing, and Keith Smith, we talked a little bit about it with him yesterday, but I've seen him tweet it multiple times since all the injuries have started for this Grizzlies team, is these young guys are going to go out there and fight. They're not going to lay down and just go away. You're going to see them playing their hardest. You're going to see them going out and trying to give their best game. And with this kind of tricky situation the Grizzlies find themselves in for injuries, that's what you want to see. You can go out and you can see what you have in these young guys.
When do you think the next round of conference realignment will kick off?
It's a good question. I mean, I would say a couple years, but I think the way it's been going, I would say next year.
I had someone today in college sports, not affiliated with Ole Miss, not even affiliated with the SEC, tell me that he thinks Virginia and North Carolina will become official members of the SEC soon.
Really?
And will start playing basketball as members of the SEC next year, like they did at 92 for Arkansas and South Carolina. They didn't merge in and play football until the fall of 92. They played basketball in the 91-92 season.
Wow. That would be crazy, Brett.
Wouldn't it be?
I mean, and those are two teams that you really haven't heard much about in terms of realignment.
And this person was telling me he thinks everybody in the ACC is kind of waiting on that first one to really fight it, and Florida State seems to be really close. And Clemson is waiting, and there's a plan for the SEC to go from 16 to 18.
Wow, Brett, that blew my mind. I mean, that would be insane.
I mean, it just really never ends.
It never stops.
And as soon as you got to potentially 18, you would be looking for two more.
Absolutely. Get to 20. Yeah, absolutely. Easily.
Get to 20 and maybe have 5-14 pod set up type.
Yeah.
I don't know how you would schedule basketball.
It'd be impossible. It really would.
I mean, unless you win a year that you wouldn't play somebody in your league.
I guess that's how you'd have to go. I mean, we're already seeing the not
because
true round robin.
It would limit you so. Yeah. That's right. It would limit you so much in scheduling. Even multi-team events. Like around Thanksgiving holidays.
Yeah, it really would. That's where it gets tricky when you start talking about 20-team conferences and college basketball and scheduling and stuff. It gets tricky. But, Brett, I am glad you brought up conference realignment because as everybody knows, we're counting down the weeks until Texas and Oklahoma join the SEC.
July 1.
And, Brett, I'll be honest, I don't think Texas is going to survive in the SEC. After what happened last night
it's so soft.
with Rodney Terry, I don't think they're going to survive in the SEC.
Here's the deal. Texas. You come in, you want to do horns up, fine. But if the horns can go up, the horns can go down.
That's right. Well, and so on the football side, we've gotten where they whine so hard that it became a penalty in conference games in the Big 12 to throw horns down. And now in basketball, you've got Rodney Terry going through the handshake line, stopping every single UCF player individually and calling them classless for throwing horns down after their win.
All right, that's when I think Johnny Dawkins and that staff steps up and said, don't say another word to my team.
Got to.
Nate Oates, you better never lay another hand on my player. I don't even think it gets to that. You don't talk to my player.
Yeah, and based on it, I don't know, and I didn't see what Johnny Dawkins, if anything, he said after the game. I don't think Johnny Dawkins knew about it until afterwards because they were way past the head coaches shaking hands, and he gets through and
he was getting down to walk on practice.
He was.
Why are you talking rough to those guys?
Crazy.
Come on, man.
They're just there. They're just helping out. I did see the best part of it was seeing Antoine Jones in the video that's going on. Antoine Jones, former Tiger Antoine Jones, who is now with UCF, just always blows my mind that he is still playing college basketball. But I don't think they're going to survive, Brett. I mean, I think the first time they go on the road in the SEC and football, those student sections, every single person in the student section is going to have horns down, and they're just going to have to live with it.
They are, and everybody, Texas is almost like Alabama. They get everybody's best shot.
That's right.
Now, they don't have a trophy case like Alabama's.
Mm-hmm. Not at all.
But they have that bravado, and it's been propped up so much and told that they, are one of the all-timers. Their first SEC road trip is to Nashville to play Vandy.
Well, what's the second?
Is that right? Let me go. So they open at home against Colorado State, at Ann Arbor against Michigan, home against UTSA, home against UL Monroe, home against Mississippi State.
Wow. In
Dallas against Oklahoma, in Austin against Georgia. They don't go on the road until October 26th to Nashville.
Holy cow.
And they'll have more fans there than Vanderbilt, even when the stadium gets plated. Then open date November 9th at home against Florida. Their first real road trip is to Fayetteville.
Holy cow. That is crazy.
And I know how they'll receive them.
Oh, yeah. It won't
how they always have.
Won't be pretty. No.
And the first letter is an H.
Yes.
Hate.
Yes. No, that will be a lot of fun. But that's crazy. Crazy schedule. Also, I have this video just
really only 2 tough road trips in College Station.
That's crazy. I haven't looked at their schedule that closely, but that is surprising. I have this the video of Rodney Terry getting mad at all the players for UCF, and it's just running on a loop right now on my computer. And I'm just noticing, I've probably watched this video 30 times over the last 24 hours. Just noticing right behind Rodney Terry, Frank Haith, because now he's assistant at Texas. So a lot of Memphis flavor in there in the handshake lines between Texas and UCF.
Which Rodney Terry very fortunate to get that job permanently. And, the people out there last year, hire Rodney Terry now. Rodney Terry deserves this job. You can't listen to that in the heat of the moment. Yeah. He was a disaster at UTEP.
Yeah, and he's really struggling right now at Texas.
And they'll be hiring a coach this time next year.
Yeah, they will. I think you're right about that. Well, let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, we're going to talk Tigers versus USF tonight, 6 o'clock. It is on ESPN, the ESPN game. I was reminded 100 times. Kind of surprised me because usually a game like this you'd think on ESPN Plus. But Jay Billis last night doing the reads over and over and over again during USC in Arizona, that Memphis tonight on ESPN. It was fun to hear because you don't usually hear the Tigers in a read like that. And Jay Billis talking pretty favorably about the Tigers. We'll also have to get to Tiger Bankroll in our next segment. Where are we playing at, Brett? 11.5?
11.5.
All right, 11.5 right now. Tigers favored over USF, so we'll do that in our next segment. 3:45, we'll get to Grizzlies talk as they've got Minnesota on the road tonight. That game on TNT tonight at 9 o'clock. 4 o'clock, Greg Gaston will join us to talk Tigers. 4:30, we're going to get to some NFL talk and make our straight-up picks for the weekend slate and also talk some other news in the NFL with the playoffs continuing to roll along. At 4:45, we get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Kevin Sweeney from CBB Central and Sports Illustrated will join us to talk some college basketball. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending, and at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Get over there for the floor model sale. All floor model patio sets are priced to move. Wicker sofa set under $2,000. Closeout patio cushions as low as $25. Pool tables under $1,500. Theater seating under $2,000. 4-person hot tubs now under $5,000. Infrared and traditional steam saunas 25% off. Get ready for summer and purchase your above-ground pool now to get first in line for installation. Special financing, it's still available, but only at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
Bryant, I told you, always in this cold weather, try to remember that hot Friday out at the golf tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of seems a long time ago, doesn't it?
Sure does.
with this week that we have. We are Sports Time. It's Bryant and Brett. We're with you until 6 o'clock right before the Tigers tip downtown against USF. And again, the Tigers are alerting everyone, please don't go. Don't try to go tonight. Just watch on TV. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Give them a call at 901-334-9673. The one and only Lexus dealership in town with great offers on all models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2024 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day is the 10th-ranked Tigers in action tonight at home against USF. Another road game for the Tigers at home, and for the most part, the conference slate has been pretty tricky for the Tigers. A lot of close games, a lot of nail biters. We've had 2 buzzer beaters, one game go to overtime where the Tigers kind of separated themselves against UTSA, but the last game on the road in Wichita, they really showed what they can do. A blowout win over the Shockers. Can they bring that back to Memphis against USF tonight? We know Jaquan Walton, his ties to Wichita, playing the last couple of years there before transferring to Memphis. He really feels comfortable in that gym. He had a great game, 23 points, knocked down a ton of three-pointers. Can he carry that back home to Memphis tonight against USF? I'm not worried about this game tonight. I think the Tigers should handle the Bulls, but what Tiger team will we get? Will we get the team that comes out, starts the game slow, and it's, everyone's kind of wondering what happens to this game midway through the second half, or do we get the Tigers that showed up against Wichita State in the second half? Because a lot of people forget that game was really close, really back and forth game in the first half before the Tigers came out in the second half and really asserted their dominance. Can we get that Tiger team, or will we get this Tiger team that has made a lot of these conference games close?
Yeah, and it will be bring your own motivation because the crowd is encouraged to be sparse, and it will be, and it should be, for safety's sake. That's my top story. The Tigers at 40 in the net versus USF at 141 in the net. The net loves blowouts. They love covering the spread. Just win and improve. The Tigers are 1 behind Texas Tech in the net. Texas Tech's at 39, and they're 1 ahead of Grand Canyon at 41. The Tigers need A&M, Arkansas, Michigan, and Clemson to start winning some games, while at the same time, simultaneously, they need to be going about 15-3 or 16-2 in the AAC. 14-4 in league play would be devastating to an NCAA tournament seed. Would be in, but the seed would be very difficult. After tonight would be 5-0. Well, you can't get to 18-0 unless you start 5-0. Now I know it hadn't played against FAU either there or here yet, but you're kind of seeing what this conference is made of. You kind of want to see North Texas a little bit, road at UAB, but I think we know what this conference is about. It's Memphis and FAU, and even if they lost both of them, that would be 16-2, and I don't think they will.
No, I don't think so either. I love the Grand Canyon reference, Brett. Bryce Drew doing his thing over there. Scott Drew's brother, a good program over there at Grand Canyon.
Not top story of the day.
Well, Brett, my not top story of the day, we got the official word last night that Mike McCarthy is not going
execution
anywhere.
From the governor.
He's staying with the Cowboys. Obviously, Cowboy fans have been pretty split on this decision. I saw
it's either a slow day or we think too much alike, because I've got that too.
I love it, Brett. Well, you had to know, me being a Cowboy fan, that was going to be somewhere, whether it's top or not top story.
I got
or
my
at the
tissue
end,
still. I still got my tissue.
I might need him. It was funny because right after it was kind of announced that he would remain the head coach going into next year, I saw like 3 Dallas Cowboy reporters all like at the same time tweet out, this was the right move, this was the right call. And so I think they expected the kind of pushback from Cowboys fans, and they wanted to try to get out in front of it and kind of protect the head coach.
Well, they've got to keep avenue of access alive.
Absolutely. And so it seemed like they were kind of doing damage control last night after it was official. But what does this mean? Mike McCarthy has definitely shown that in the regular season, he is a good coach. This team has been really, really good in the regular season. They've had a great offense under him calling plays now, but it's the postseason. It's what Dallas Cowboy fans like myself have come to learn. It's always going to be a disappointment in the postseason. Will that change? Because now he's on notice. He got to keep his job this year. Next year, if we have the same thing, an early exit in the wild card, Jerry Jones will not be this nice, and the Cowboys will be looking for a new coach.
You're exactly right, Brian. It's my not top story. It's Mike McCarthy. He's staying as head coach, but you can start counting the days down. Mm-hmm. There's no way he's around a year from today because, what's going to be the stated goal? What's the goal? It's not at Valley Ranch anymore. It's the Star at Cowboys headquarters. What is it? And also this. Don't dare start 0-3.
No.
0-2 could be shaky.
Yeah, no.
0-1 will be loud. Don't be 4-5. Don't be 6-8. You better win 12 again. You better win the NFC East. Host a home playoff game.
Yep.
Need to win that one. NFC Championship game. Preferably host that one.
Yeah.
No prayer of him being Cowboys coach a year from now. None.
Yeah. I mean, everything he does, Brett, from now until playoffs next year, everything is going to be looked at through everything. I mean,
And what I sure don't want it, but Dak was very, very healthy this year. What if that's not the case next year?
Well, it's a really good point, and it's something to keep an eye on. I think everything
that wouldn't save him.
No,
I mean, if Dak went down, he had to play the backup. Had to start the backup for 15 games. That won't save him.
I don't think so. No, I think the first opportunity, the first thing that goes sideways, the Cowboys will be looking for a new coach. I think it was huge that he was able to keep his
I
job.
don't notice Jones on the sideline like he did as a younger man owner.
Yeah, no, you don't see him down on the field as much. He usually.
But we get every booth shot.
Oh yeah, you get as many as you want during a game. They're always throwing it up.
When you could read Lip Sunday. I knew what one of the sayings was.
Man, it was not a happy box on Sunday down in Dallas. But let's go ahead and get to our first break of the day. When we return, we got to talk about the Tigers. Their game tonight against USF. We'll also get to Tiger Bankroll. That's next on Sportstime.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Is your home still not warm enough or running out of hot water? Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing, and we've got exciting news for you. Introducing Choate's Carrier Repair Buyback Program. If you've had HVAC or water heater repairs in the past year, you're in luck. Choate's will credit your repair costs up to $1,500 with a brand new HVAC or tankless water heater system. Yep, you heard right. Just bring your repair invoice from the last 365 days and get ready to upgrade your home's comfort. Say goodbye to those chilly nights and inconsistent heating. Choate's has you covered with various low-payment financing plans, making your upgrade more affordable than ever. Imagine a more efficient and reliable system keeping your family cozy all winter long. And here's the best part. This offer is a substantial boost towards a state-of-the-art heating solution. Ready to take the next step? Schedule your free estimate by calling 347-8086. And remember, turn to the experts with Choates and let our family serve your family.
Let's make this the new year to drive your new Kia home from Gossett Kia on the Pike. Bobby J's waiting to put you in a new Kia today. So come hit the road with 41 MPG Highway in 2024 Kia Forte LXS, $239 a month, $27.99 due at signing. Or get 7-passenger seating in a 2023 Kia Sorento LX. We Gossett at $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing. And if you want your new ride to be a 2024 Kia Telluride LX, we Gossett at $449 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36-month lease plus Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get to Gossett Kia today, 1900 Covington Pike. Online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee. Forte RE722-812, MSRP 21,590. Sorrento PG 242-710, MSRP 33,010. Telluride RG 462822, MSRP 38,705. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/31/2024 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
There have been times when all seemed dark, when it seemed night would last forever. Souls wandered the earth in search of something satisfying, something fulfilling. And then, when all seemed lost, dawn broke, and it was sunrise. At last the people had their dream realized. They could have not just breakfast, or lunch, or even 11sies, but they could have them served fast and fresh and made just for them. At last, at long last, the cock has crowed.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Keeping an eye on this construction zone over here. It's moving at the moment. Got a little bit slow earlier at times there on 55 northbound up by South Parkway. It's always tricky trying to get around that curve there at Crump. It's moving at the moment at South Memphis on 55 headed down through South Haven into DeSoto County. A 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in Memphis. It's Tomahawk Crane and Rigging online at tomahawkcrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. And the Tigers ranked 10th in the country with the nation's 4th longest active winning streak at 10 games. They're back in action tonight at home against South Florida. South Florida, they're entering tonight winning their last game against Rice. Their last loss against UAB came a week ago. So they've been winning, but haven't been playing a ton of really super high-quality opponents. Brett, what are you looking for tonight for the Tigers in this game?
To get out on them early, South Florida, out of town in these crummy conditions, it'll be a lack of inspiration for them with the modest crowd that's being encouraged tonight for them. So get on top of them early, play a lot of people, and really just kind of try to impress the net and win big. South Florida's win of the year was against Florida State, and you think back, Florida State has had some scuffles this year. Right now, 3rd in the ACC. Leonard Hamilton's team playing a lot better of late. South Florida not only got them, but blasted them, beat them 16 in the early part of the year. Worst loss to Maine, non-conference common opponent. I only see one, and that was Alabama State, and they beat Alabama State by 3, and the Tigers handled Alabama State really easily, beat them 17.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that Florida State win. A good win for them. Florida State, really kind of struggled at the beginning of the season, but have really turned things around. But a good win for USF. That started what has become 7 of their last games as wins. That one loss being UAB. That was 2 games ago on the road. So they have been playing winning basketball. It's just kind of that level of opponents. They haven't been playing the toughest opponents. Now they'll face a real test against Memphis when you're. I've got their KenPom pulled up right now, and before playing Memphis, the highest team they've played in terms of KenPom ranks was Florida State, who is 79th, and before that, I think the highest 98th. So they've been playing a lot of mid-majors, low mid-major opponents this year. Now they have been picking up those wins, but this will certainly be the biggest test for them of the season.
Oddly enough, I mentioned non-conference mutual opponents. They haven't had a conference mutual opponent team. South Florida have played. The Tigers haven't run into yet, but their guards have to play out of their minds. And if you make 8, 9, 10 threes and you have 7, 8, 9 turnovers all night, you can keep it scary. You can keep it interesting.
No, you're absolutely right. And they've got, some good guards on this team, but they would have to play, their A++ game tonight for USF, and Chris Youngblood, their leading scorer right now. He's played really well, averaging almost 15 points a game. Selton Miguel also averaging almost 15 points a game. So, those are guys that you've definitely got to keep an eye on. But, this has been a team, the Tigers have been, that their perimeter defense has been probably the biggest flaw for them. And this isn't a USF team that shoots the ball super well from 3. And so I think that definitely gives the Tigers a big advantage.
Yeah, and Tigers need to get back to what had been the calling card for Penny Hardaway in his head coaching tenure at Memphis, and that's defense. Even against Wichita State, and they scored 112, but gave up 86, gave up 101 in overtime to Texas San Antonio. And if it hadn't have been for that defense, would not have defeated SMU when holding them to 59. So they need to get back to the defensive first, not just tendencies, kind of the overt mission statement of Penny Hardaway's teams at Memphis. Yeah. It's been D.
No, you're right, and good point by you bringing up these last 2 games, because I think that is kind of concerning. I mean, even though you hung 112 against Wichita State, giving up 86 points is concerning. The game before that, I know it went to overtime, but still 101 points is very concerning. And so I think that's something to keep an eye on, is against this USF team that averages, I looked it up earlier, I think they average about 76 points per game. 76.4 points per game. Can you limit them to about 65 points tonight and really kind of dominate defensively?
And the most important thing in the last 2 is win. That is the thing to do, and that's what gets the net's attention, especially at home. And if the bigger you win, and like that on Sunday, really impressive. Already the 18th game of the year, more than halfway for regular season play, and you add in 3 down at Dickies Arena and at least 2 or 3 in the NCAA tournament, you're getting up around 30, 36, 37 games. So it just goes to show you just how long the season is. Tonight, the Tigers are 11.5-point favorite over South Florida. This year, the Tigers 15-2 record-wise, 7-10 against the point spread this year, and it's been hard to catch up with them for us. I am 8-9 picking Tiger basketball against the point spread. You are 8-9, and Johnny is 7-10. I won't say money management. I've been really lucky on 2 or 3 heavier plays to get to where I am. I am at 1350. You are at 750, and Johnny is at 635. And Johnny weighs in with this one, laying the 11.5 on the Tigers for $50.
All right. I'm going to go with the Bulls here to cover the 11.5. I think, this is, it's going to be impact as much as, we can sit here and talk about it. It's going to be the fans not being there, and I think a lot of fans will choose not to show up for good reason. I don't think people should show up to the game tonight. take care of yourself, be safe, and watch it on TV. But that's going to play and impact this Tiger team, and I think it'll do the same to USF. But I think we could get a slow start for the Tigers, kind of something we've seen in some of these other home conference games. And so I think it's close towards the end. I think they can pull away, but I'm going to go with USF here. I will go $80.
$80, big wager.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 25 in the money management play, but I'm going to take USF as well. I had Wichita State Sunday afternoon. Wasn't even close. Johnny had Wichita State. You had Memphis. I had the Tigers against Texas San Antonio. In fact, both of us did. Johnny had Texas San Antonio. We all had a group lock over SMU, and it was just too many points to get there, 7.5. We all went group lock at Tulsa. I'm fortunate to win. Sure didn't get to the 9.5. We all went group lock against Austin Peay, and that was way too many points. Only won by 11. Tigers laying big points there. So it's been tough to catch up with them and really get in a routine with them, and it just as sure as I pick one way, that goes the other.
Yeah, I mean, it's been hard to figure this team out this year because, not as in, how good are they? We know they're good. They've been winning games. They've been doing what they need to do. But in terms of the Vegas lines, it's kind of hard to figure this team out because with them being a top 10 team, with them, showing what they can do against a team like Wichita State, blowing them out, these lines are reflecting that.
They are.
And then, the Tigers can come out slow one night and you get caught on a game against Austin Peay or something.
It's why Vegas is in business. They'll take 8, 9. They'll take around 500. Just collect that juice all year.
Yeah. No, they love it. They love it, and they're good at it. That's why they're out in Vegas.
They're really good. I was surprised FAU is big a favorite tonight at home against Wichita State. I think that's a public reaction to what the Tigers did to Wichita State Sunday.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it is. When you see Wichita State at home and them just get kind of blown out in the fashion they did, and then when you go and look at what Wichita State has done, I mean, they have really struggled. A loss against Missouri, loss against San Diego State. Their one win since November was at home against Southern Illinois. After that, Kansas State, Kansas, North Texas, Temple, Memphis. They have really struggled. They played really close in a lot of those games, but I do think, when you see Memphis going into Wichita and hanging 112 and beating them the way they did, I think that's a big reaction, and it's going to be an interesting game to watch tonight against Florida Atlantic.
Tiger basketball tonight at FedEx Forum, but everybody be safe.
Yeah.
Just watch at home tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock. We'll have the beat writer for the Commercial Appeal, Jason Munns, join us. It's presented by Jim's Place Grill. Every Friday we talk with Jason Munns through the college basketball season about the hometown Tigers and Jim's Place Grill. It's been the hometown go-to restaurant for over 100 years. With charcoal grill steaks, over 100 years of celebration, family time, and lasting fun memories, sports and otherwise. The Terrace family with their touch for our community, recipes that date back to the beginning in downtown to now in Collierville at the railroad tracks at Poplar and Houston Levee. Online at jimsplacegrill.com. Don't forget the Ian Grill. Every steak grilled perfectly over an open flame. Come to Jim's Place and taste and see the difference. This weekend, everybody's going to really want to be getting out, and they'll be ready for you. Lunch hours, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Dinner hours, Monday through Saturday, 5 p.m. to 9:30. Since 1921, a Memphis landmark, hard work, values, and a dedication to their loyal diners, new and old alike. The Terrace family, they've created a memorable dining experience. The lunch menu, the staples like the shrimp cocktail, the crab cakes, the souffle man, those salad dressings, all homemade. At dinner, the soups, the seafood, the calamari, and those steaks that they're famous for, ribeye, strips, and fillets. Great bar area, all at Jim's Place Grill in Collierville.
Let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we talked about the Tigers and their game tonight, but the Grizzlies also in action tonight on the road in Minnesota. A TNT game tonight tipping off at 9 o'clock. So let's get to a break. When we come back, we're talking Grizzlies.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Denise has been playing jazz for 40 years. Last concert, one of the musicians fell sick with RSV. Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems. This time, she's choosing to help protect herself with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo. Abrysvo is a vaccine for the prevention of lower respiratory tract disease caused by respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, in adults 60 years of age and older. Abrysvo is not for everyone and may not protect all who receive the vaccine. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its ingredients. People with a weakened immune system may have a decreased response to Abrysvo. The most common side effects are tiredness, headache, pain at the injection site, and muscle pain. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit abrysvo.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Roofs, roofs, and more roofs. Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair simply because they don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance claims for policyholders each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. Call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates, consultation, and claim repairs. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, diagnosing problems, and estimating is second to none, commercial and residential. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. All you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and Mulehide with labor warranties up to 50 years on all of our jobs. Metro Builders provides roof repairs across the Mid-South. Call Metro Builders to schedule your inspection free. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
At Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike, new inventory is arriving daily, and we've got what you've been looking for to start the new year off right. Get off to a great year in your award-winning 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander, $329 a month, or buy it for $29,910. Take a spin in your new 2024 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, $29,445, or lease for $449 a month. How about 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV, 420 total range MPGe? You own it for $649 a month. Plus, no worries with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. You want it? We Gossett at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or online anytime, memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
PHEV PZO 62303 MSRP 44,355 Sport RU 001136 MSRP 28,000 Eclipse RZO 12051 MSRP 31,700 includes all rebates and incentives PF 695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 120 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats to watch the playoff games and to watch all the basketball. It's so easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
We get a little bit of a Memphis basketball marathon almost tonight with both the Tigers and the Grizzlies in action. Tigers at 6 o'clock on ESPN, and then at 9 o'clock over on TNT, Grizzlies and Timberwolves. Grizzlies on the road in Minnesota right now. The Timberwolves, a massive 12.5-point favorite at home. We know what all the Grizzlies are missing right now with injuries, who they'll be playing. And right now, the Timberwolves, 29-11 on the season, 16-2 at home, and sitting atop the Western Conference standings. Brett, what do you expect to see tonight for the Grizzlies in Minnesota?
It's going to be rough. This whole road trip is going to be very challenging against the first-place team in the West. Second-best record overall in the NBA, 725 basketball. The T-Wolves are playing. Only Boston with one better than that at 780. And then in Chicago on Saturday, and that's a team in the playoff mix. Right now they'd be the 9 seed in the East. And then at Toronto, we saw what Toronto did to the Grizzlies a week ago last night here at FedEx Forum. And then in the road trip against Eric Spoelstra in one of the best systems, one of the best cultures in all of sport, and that's the Miami Heat, with him coaching it and Pat Riley running it. Mm-hmm. That is a formidable duo. I saw a good article today out there that there's no, and I agree with this, especially after the performance this summer at the World Cup. There's no way Steve Kerr should be head coach. I don't care how dream teamy it gets at the Paris Olympics. It's time to send Eric Spoelstra as head coach.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see Spo out there. I mean, what he has done with that Heat organization has just been unbelievable, and his rise, the story of getting to where he is now is incredible, and he's an unbelievable head coach. I wouldn't mind that at all.
That whole organization from top to bottom, it's got a lot of those NBA lifer stories, starting there in the mailroom and working all the way up. They have done that. Andy Ellsberg, notably in that front office, has done that. But tonight it's going to be rough for the Grizzlies, and it will be for the rest of the year. Tonight is the halfway point of the NBA season in just a nightmarish year. I don't know what people thought the record would be after 41, but I don't think many had 15 wins.
No, I don't think so. I mean, the sky was the limit before the season started, and it was the biggest fear for everybody was, what do you do in these first 25 games without Ja Morant? And then once that's over, you got him back, and you know, you start
just
that
survive.
Climb. Just
well,
survive, and they didn't survive that, and then you get him back, plays 9 games, and then right back out along with pretty much everybody else on the team.
Yeah, and the final, just what else can go wrong, was last Friday night with Desmond Bain, and now him being injured. The other day I said, get to late March and shut down Jaren Jackson. I don't know if I really want to see that. Mm-hmm. I think he's got to be in there. Yeah. And when we get to big number of the day, I'm going to have that around him. I think he needs to play, and I think he needs to learn to become the leader of this team, and be a professional. Mm-hmm. And being a professional is out there in these kind of years. Yeah. Instead of shutting it down and all the maintenance and all the kind of propping up that's been done of him. This is 6 years now. And it's time for him. He's getting older as a player, certainly still very young and in prime years, and we want him to be with the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
But I think he's got to be in there. He's got to be, instead of kind of just the class clown, he's got to be the leader of the team.
Yeah, no, I think so, and I think this is a good opportunity, being that veteran and being around a lot of really, really young guys. I mean, you look around, it's a lot of guys. You got Gigi out there that's 19. You got Vince Williams that played a lot in college, but is very young in terms of the NBA.
They need him out there.
Zaire, they need him, and it would be really good for him to be out there. I know I saw the other day when one of the games that he was out, and you saw Zaire out there kind of leading the huddles and kind of being that voice out there and that leader. I think that's also good for those young guys to get that experience.
It is, but this isn't Zaire Williams' team.
No, it's not.
And that's my kind of overarching point
and
along the subject line is it's time for Jaren Jackson to be out there, and part of being a pro is sometimes eating that bad year for the team.
That's my point of you've got Zaire out there, and if you have Jaren out there, when you have Jaren and Ja and Desmond, Jaren is not the voice out there, but when you have Jaren out there when Zaire's being the voice, Jaren is immediately the voice, and I think that's good for him to kind of come into that leadership role, and you can do that with a lot of young guys. So it's gonna be fun to watch this team. I've really enjoyed watching these young guys and seeing them compete and seeing them improve, and so I think we'll see more of that tonight.
Yeah, I think we will as well. A week ago today, we were at Sissy's Log Cabin for the big grand opening. We know the weather's been challenging, but soon you'll be able to get back out and visit that new location at 4542 Poplar, where Bill Jones, his great team, they're here to stay. Some blow in overnight and then gone. Not Sissy's Log Cabin. They're here to stay. The official jeweler of the Memphis Tigers, official jeweler of the Memphis Grizzlies, and with us all football season. When we would look back at the weekend in the SEC on Monday, they have the Mid-South's largest selection of one-of-a-kind jewelry, engagement rings, wedding bands, necklaces, earrings, and we know what's coming up, Valentine's. That's where you need to go shopping now for Valentine's. 9,000 square feet in Laurelwood, with expanded lines for Rolex, Cartier, diamonds, and more. Since 1970, with locations all across the Mid-South, all under the frozen tundra right now in Arkansas and Tennessee. Sissy's, they offer a selection of diamonds, estate jewelry, and fine gifts. And again, the official jeweler for the Tigers and the Grizzlies, and the FedEx Forum Lounge and that floor seating. Unsurpassed value, exceptional service, expansive selection, and an extraordinary shopping experience, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Well, 1 hour down. Let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we're talking Tigers with Greg Gaston.
We all appreciate luxury. We love the newest technology. We want something that sparkles and looks great. Well, I've got it all in one place. It's called Genesis of Olive Branch, right at the corner of Highway 78, that's Lamar, and the first exit in Mississippi, that's Craft Road. Turn left and you will see Genesis of Olive Branch. And right now, you can get the 2024 Genesis GV70 starting at $49,480 with special financing as low as 3.49% on select models. How about the 2024 Genesis GV80? A little bit bigger, starting at $55,995, financing as low as 5.49% with a $2,000 rebate when trading a luxury brand. Call them. They'll even bring you a Genesis at your work or your home for a test drive. They're convinced that when you drive a Genesis, you're going to want one. Call 662-890-6684. Ask for Vinny. Genesis of Olive Branch.
DismeCoins.com is the best site online to purchase Trump commemorative coins because no one else features the exclusive Ultra MAGA Trump coin line. Whether it's Let's Go Brandon or Still My President, each and every coin is made right here in the USA on machines built in America by Americans who love this country. These are collectibles, so when they're gone, they're gone. These coins make a wonderful gift for yourself or for the Trump memorabilia collector in your life with free shipping for orders over $400 at DismeCoins.com. That's DISME coins.com.
Is your home still not warm enough or running out of hot water? Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing, and we've got exciting news for you. Introducing Choate's Carrier Repair Buyback Program. If you've had HVAC or water heater repairs in the past year, you're in luck. Choate's will credit your repair costs up to $1,500 with a brand new HVAC or tankless water heater system. Yep, you heard right. Just bring your repair invoice from the last 365 days and get ready to upgrade your home's comfort. Say goodbye to those chilly nights and inconsistent heating. Choate's has you covered with various low-payment financing plans, making your upgrade more affordable than ever. Imagine a more efficient and reliable system keeping your family cozy all winter long. And here's the best part. This offer is a substantial boost towards a state-of-the-art heating solution. Ready to take the next step? Schedule your free estimate by calling 347-8086. And remember, turn to the experts with Choates and let our family serve your family.
Top 25 Memphis basketball is back at FedEx Forum Thursday, January 18th at 6 for the 6 Main game. Come out as we celebrate you, the 6 Main. Mystery giveaway to the first 1,000 fans and special in-game presentations celebrating you. Be on the lookout on Memphis Tigers social media for special giveaways around the city. Be there and be loud, 6th Main. Purchase your tickets at gotigersgo.com/tickets.
So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses. Any house, any area, as is. It's literally as simple as that. Just pick up your phone. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your house fast, call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. A couple of wrecks still getting some attention out here. It's been a little bit lighter than normal for obvious reasons with the weather. Again, we still got some dangerous driving conditions out here all over the area. Just give yourself plenty of extra travel time if you have to get out and about in all this. Traffic still moving on 240 getting on to 385 Billmore's Parkway. That looks pretty good actually as you head outbound towards Collierville. Weimer's Jewelry 7525. Highway 64 is your Valentine's Day headquarters. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
From the Tigers sideline, it's Tigers Talk with Memphis broadcasting legend Greg Gaston. Hear Greg weekday mornings on Sports 56 Mornings, along with Eli Savoy from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. On Twitter X at Greg_Gaston. Here's Greg with Bryant and Brett.
Greg Gaston joins us now to talk Tigers like we do every Thursday afternoon. Tigers in action tonight against USF, but the University of Memphis encouraging fans to stay home and watch the game on ESPN. Greg, thanks so much for joining us. And with this kind of announcement from the university, because of the conditions outside, probably won't be a ton of fans in attendance today. We talked about it a little earlier, but Reggie texted in, and so I'll just start with his question. With the authorities encouraging fans to stay home tonight because of the weather, do you think that will affect the play of the game tonight for the Tigers?
Well, good afternoon, gentlemen. I don't think it'll affect the game itself and the play. I know that it's easy to say that the players, the way they play, a lot of it is dictated by the energy of the arena, and if it's your home arena, they're going crazy for you, that you're going to play better because of that. That's not always the case. We know there is such a thing called home court advantage, home field advantage, and things like that in sports, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to go out there and flop around and not play basketball because it's a limited crowd. But it is a shame that you have a home game and You're not going to be able to have the amount of people that you would normally have, especially for a team riding a 10-game winning streak and having played so well in that second half against Wichita State. But I can understand where the university is coming from. Last night they had a tennis match at the Leftwich, and fans were not allowed to go to the game. It wasn't just encouraged that they didn't go. They weren't allowed to go. There's a lot of safety precautions being taken, and understandably so. So I can understand the message to the fans. There'll be some that will brave the elements, but yeah, it'll be a small crowd. Hopefully that will not affect play, and it'll be a solid game, well played by both teams, and hopefully the Tigers can take care of business against the team that they should beat and stretch that winning streak to 11.
Yeah, and Greg, I do think the crowd played a big part, especially with that second half early punch the Tigers threw coming out a couple Sunday afternoons ago against SMU.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly works. We see it all the time. But, for example, last Sunday at Wichita, Tigers had a 3-point lead at halftime. You would think that the fans would probably be whipped up into a frenzy. There's always a good crowd in Wichita. You know that, Brett. You know that, Brian. So what happens second half? Memphis comes down, starts making everything, and they played a lot better defense in the second half. So here's one where you would think, well, Wichita's got the home court advantage. They're primed for that upset. Well, Memphis took it right away from them. So there's no guarantees that you're always going to play off the energy of the crowd. It does happen a lot. You'd rather have home games. You'd rather have that crowd behind you, but it's understandable. I don't think there's going to be too many people upset. And again, it's not like they're preventing you from going. It's just your option, and they're asking to use caution over anything else. And if you don't have to go down there, don't. Watch it on television, listen to it on the radio.
So tonight against South Florida, when you look at this team, they've won a lot of games lately. They've got a big win against Florida State in there, but this will be their first Quad 1 opponent in Memphis. In Quad 2, Quad 3 games, they're 3-3. What do you expect to see tonight in Memphis' opponent, South Florida?
They got some interesting pieces. They got a little point guard, and Memphis has had trouble with the little point guards. Yep. They're a pretty good rebounding team. Obviously, Memphis has struggled for the most part, although, again, in the second half against Wichita State, they played nearly perfect offensively, and defensively they played much better than they did in the first half. But, rebounding is certainly something that's been an issue, so something to keep an eye on for South Florida. We'll see if South Florida, again, is able to come out with that mentality like Wichita State did, despite it being a home game and this being an away game for South Florida, that this is our Super Bowl. This is our big game. Of course, they will play Florida Atlantic, and Florida Atlantic, you got to figure, is in that same mode. This is, they play a couple of Super Bowls, I guess, in the American Conference this year, because Florida Atlantic, you can't overstate their importance. They went to the Final Four, for goodness sakes, last year. But the point is still the same. You're playing Memphis, you're playing Florida Atlantic, you're looking for big upsets, so you want to put your best foot forward. Whether or not they can do that, we'll see in a couple hours.
Greg, there's a point in the year when I don't think we're close to it yet. It's usually for me around mid-February, maybe even a little bit later than that, 20th, 25th of February, when I like to say, this is the Army you're going to war with. This is your team. There's not a whole lot else you can really mix and match with a team. We're not to that point yet. What are some things the Tigers can still mix and match with and get better?
They're still integrating Naquan Tomlin. Mm-hmm. He hasn't been here for that long, so he's still learning how they want him to play and how he kind of fits in. So that's something. Number two, defensively, there's going to be a lot of tweaks to the defense. Let's be honest, this has not been a stellar defensive performance this season, especially for a Penny Hardaway coach team, because we know his emphasis is on defense. And he's put together some pretty good defensive squads. They have to be better. Their communication has to be better. Whether or not they will go more towards man-to-man strictly without any help defense, unless, of course, you're stuck on a switch, and then you'd switch and you communicate that to your teammate. But will it be less help defense? That's something he had said after that game against SMU, but we didn't see it as much. I thought we'd see it a lot more against Wichita State. So that's something they're working on. Whether or not they're going to be more of a trapping team, try to force some more turnovers. They've kind of taken that off, the foot off the pedal the last few games as far as that is concerned. I think they're a really good team in forcing turnovers, stealing the basketball. We'll see if that is emphasized more as we move forward. So, yeah, there's still plenty of time, like you said, Brett, and I would agree with that timetable there, that there's still going to mix and match. They're going to still experiment a little bit. They're still trying to find who that person may be to take Caleb Mills' minutes. Aside from Tomlin, they play different positions, but who on the perimeter, right, is a guy that could step up defensively in crunch time in a close game. So, yeah, there's still a lot to be done here over the next month, leading into that timetable you talked about, where by that time you should be a finely tuned machine playing your best basketball, getting ready for March Madness.
Greg, none of the three of us make excuses, but the Caleb Mills injury, that's big. And I brought this up yesterday, and there hadn't been a lot of people talking about it. And when I see today that the Miami Hurricanes get a tight end to play his 9th year of college football, not man, look, I was at Fayetteville most of the 80s, but 9 years of playing college football. Imagine this team with DeAndre Williams.
Hey, Brett, can I say this, though? First of all, how about this? That guy's in college longer than Blutarski.
Oh, but had to throw some noughts up there. Had to throw some 0.00s in there for 9 years.
My gosh. He dwarfs Blutarski. I'm sorry.
He really does.
DeAndre Williams. It's nice to think about it. I mean, obviously, that ship has sailed. He's already started his professional career. But, yeah, I just wonder, okay, we know how great a player he was. And really, really did a nice job. Great man, that kid. Gosh, far from a kid, right? But a great man. Loved talking to him. Always had a smile on his face. And last year it worked because you had the 1A, 1B combo. You had Kendrick Davis and you had DeAndre Williams, and then everybody else knew their roles, and they were role players. I can't sit here and say, well, it would work out as well as it's worked out. Who knows? They could be better, which would be
might not mesh with Jones.
Exactly. Maybe David Jones doesn't step up the way he did. So we don't know that for sure. This is the hand they've been dealt. And it's funny because even as the season progresses, that hand has changed. Tomlin now a part of the team. Jordan Brown not a part of the team. J.J. Taylor, again, wasn't getting much playing time, not a part of the team. Mikey Williams, was he going to be a part of it? So there's been questions that we have the answers to some. We don't have the answers to all, but that has evolved as the season has progressed. But yeah, it's nice to think about it, that DeAndre Williams would take a team that right now has 2 losses and a 10-game winning streak and would make them even better.
Absolutely. I'm curious your thoughts on Jaquan Walton. We know and have heard it. You know, if you're at some of those earlier games in the season, a lot of the fans were not happy with how Jaquan Walton had been playing. But now coming off a game against Wichita State, and obviously spent time at Wichita State, so very comfortable in that gym. But 23 points that tied with Quinterly for the leading scorer. Also knocked down 6 triples. Do you think we could see some of that at home tonight against USF?
Sure hope so. It was really, really good to see. There was a reason they went out and got Jaquan Walton. He proved it at Wichita State. He's a scorer. Penny brings him in, starts the season out well, then hits that big lull, and people are pointing fingers. And I talk to Andy Borman every week on the show, assistant coach, and I think Eli posed a question about, a guy who's struggling with his shot. I think his 3-point shot was down to, 20%, something, really maybe bad, even less. But he said, no, shoot or shoot, and he'll come out of the funk. And we started to see it in the SMU game, the UTSA game, which went to overtime, which I broadcasted. He played well offensively, hit like 2 of 4 threes. So it was only a matter of time before he had the breakout game. And it makes a lot of sense that in front of Wichita State fans, probably, and I don't know for sure if they booed him or not. I wasn't there. I would imagine, though, they weren't cheering too much for the guy. No. He's now an enemy, right? And he comes out there and does that. That is a big lift for, obviously, him, but a huge lift for this team to have that next scorer in case David Jones has an off game, in case Quinterly's not hitting that 3 or getting that dribble drive penetration. I hope that it will continue, and that will continue starting tonight against South Florida.
Greg, if Jordan Brown returns, it will be, I think, sometime soon to try to get him reacclimated, reintegrated to the team, and the whole chemistry issue there, and his exit from the team for whatever reason, and now being back part of it. And Penny Hardaway has been very public that it's going to be the locker room's decision. How far this are you?
Hey, what a funky story, right?
Yeah,
give a lot of credit to Jason Munz, who had the recent story. I'm sure people know by now that Jordan Brown came back to meet with the team and to see where he stands, and will they welcome him back? It's tough because I personally, and it's easy for me to say, I'm not a part of the team, and I'm not a basketball player at that level. My minutes could be taken away or at least restricted. The chemistry, you worry about that. But to me, if you have a guy, I know he underperformed, but I know he's talented. And to have a guy his size, Malco's playing out of his mind. But God forbid Malco gets into an injury situation, foul trouble, right? You have Tomlin, but he's not really a 5. He's not a back-to-the-basket guy. And you have Jourdain, same deal. He's outside. He'll shoot threes. To have another guy like Jordan Brown, who's a traditional, old, back-to-the-basket type guy.
Post player.
You need a bucket. Yeah, you need a bucket. You throw it inside to him. Again, I understand for people right now who are just going, oh, come on, Greg. Oh, he wasn't playing. I understand that, and I know there was issues. And maybe there was a lot in his mind, right? Because we don't know what was going on. Maybe it was NIL. Maybe it was something other than that. But the bottom line is to have that guy, and you don't promise him that. Right, let's say he returns. Penny's not going to promise him anything. No. Earn your minutes. Maybe you don't get the minutes one game. Maybe you do, but he's there. That's some great insurance. That's a nice insurance policy. Now, whether or not the players will take him back, that's a whole other question. I would, but I could also understand if players don't. Right now, they're clicking. They're 10th ranked in the country, right? So
I take him back to Greg.
Players. Yeah, you and I are. We're old school, right?
I take him back. I take him back for this really craven, simple reason. I want to win.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Now, let's not say. I don't want to make it sound like, oh, these players today, they don't want to win. No, they want to win too, but they may feel like, hey, we're winning right now. We don't need this other guy to come in and mess up our chemistry. We're clicking. We're winning. Now, there's probably other guys, too, that are thinking, like I said earlier, oh, maybe I'm going to lose some of my minutes. Maybe I'm going to lose some of my shots. Maybe this is going to happen here. Maybe this is going to happen there. That's always a concern with, especially, I think, with the modern athlete, but understandable to a certain degree. But you and I are bottom line guys. I'm Brian. Brian's young, but he's an old school guy. He's got that old school soul. It's all about the
win.
It's all about going far.
And the first time late for a meeting, or first time frown, or first time any sense of Jordan Brown causing dissension, just keep going.
Oh, good point, Brett. I mean, that's the thing too. If you allow him back, what happens if something else occurs, and then all of a sudden there's a problem, whether it's internal between a player, Jordan Brown, and another player. What if he rocks the boat a little bit? What if he threatens to leave again? I mean, there's always those things that are in the back of your mind when you're deciding something as important as this.
Yeah, he wouldn't threaten me twice with being ill.
Right.
Well, Greg, I think another big thing you mentioned, what Malcolm Dandridge has been doing. He's been playing really, really well, but I mean, still only averaging 17 minutes per game, and so you can't rely on him for the full time you would rely on a starter. And so I think you bring in Jordan Brown, and he can surely at least keep a big man in when Malco needs a break because of that conditioning and how long he can stay out on the court.
Exactly, Brian. Now, Penny doesn't always go with the big lineup. Sometimes he goes with the small lineup. In fact, a lot of times he goes with the small lineup. But when you run into a team, for example, UConn with their big who's back, Florida Atlantic's pretty big as well. There are some teams. How about if you matched up with Zach Edey and Purdue? Yeah. I mean, nobody's as big as that guy, but you want to have some big bodies. That's extra fouls to throw at the guy as well.
As brawny as Tennessee is.
Yeah.
Exactly. You got to look at the big picture. You got to look at that front court. It's not all about these scores. It's also about what you can do from a physical standpoint. And again, 5, 10, 15, 20 fouls, if you got them from the big guys, you're in pretty good shape. And it's not just this guy, Jordan Brown, is some hack. He is a talented player who just didn't showcase it for whatever the reason was early in the season.
Greg, I know you always take Jerry Palm very seriously every time he visits with you guys, but when do you, all right, it's starting to take a little form, taking a little shape. When do you start looking at bracketology and going, all right, I'm going to take this a little more seriously? Because I even saw one out there today that had Memphis as a 2 and Tennessee as a 3, and we know if it held to form, 1 would play 4 in a Sweet 16 and 2 would play 3. That would be Memphis first UT.
Right. That would be unbelievable, wouldn't it? Well, I start to look at it now. I don't take it to heart, but I look and go, hey, that would be a matchup, or sign me up. If I'm a Tiger, I'd sign up for that one right now. But if you think about it, and they continue to win basketball games, it's not far-fetched, especially with all the losses from seeded teams here recently, or from ranked teams, not seeded teams, but ranked teams, that a two is possible. But one loss in the conference, two losses in the conference, you drop a little bit. I guess I'll take it seriously. It's late, Brett, but it's when they play Florida Atlantic. What happens with those Florida Atlantic games, right? Mm-hmm. And more than likely, you're going to get them a third time.
Yeah.
Right now, it is just, and look, we're in the conversation business, but it is just conversation about, and for sure on the ranking. All that matters now to me is really, although the ranking is something, Jay Billis wouldn't have been reading those reads if it hadn't been for the ranking.
Right, exactly. Look, I'm looking at a couple of games here coming up. The game Sunday in New Orleans against Tulane. I know Tulane's lost a few. They got beat by Andy Kennedy and UAB. What was it, last night? But they're a capable team, and Memphis has been beaten by them in recent years. So that's one I'm looking at. I'm also looking at that game in Birmingham, the return of the rivalry between Memphis and UAB. Those are two roadies. And then if you can get by those and keep winning these other games, then all I'm thinking about after that is Florida Atlantic with the home and home, and then more than likely the conference tournament championship game if everything goes according to plan. And you're looking at an incredibly high seed. But you gotta worry about a misstep. Look, they're allowed a misstep, one misstep, but Tulane and UAB are a couple
especially
of the
on the road.
That especially on the road. But there are a couple that I circle that, okay, let's see what happens against those two teams, because they're always capable of pulling off an upset if you're not playing at your peak.
Absolutely. Javon Quinterly, he was named the American Athletic Conference Player of the Week last week after averaging 24 points, 7.5 assists, 3.5 rebounds per game. What have you made of his recent play? We know the two buzzer beaters to secure wins in conference play, but outside of that, because he has really been super efficient for this Tiger team, what have you made of the Tiger point guard?
Look, I know there are statistically better point guards than him in the country, and I know there will be some point guards that will go high in the NBA draft, and I don't know how JQ fits in at the next level. I know he's a professional basketball player. Yeah. I'm not sure at the NBA level, but maybe he is. But I'm telling you, the way this guy has played recently, I can't find too many point guards around the country better than him. He is Mr. Clutch. So he's not afraid to take the big shot. He makes the big shot, but he's not afraid. That's the first step, is not to be afraid to take the big shot. His passing has been unbelievable. His drives and kicks, no-look passes. He's run the offense like a veteran point guard should. He's been absolutely incredible. Like I said, I don't think there are too many point guards right now in the country playing better than JQ.
No, certainly not. It's been really, really fun. So Tigers right now, fourth longest active win streak with 10. Could improve that tonight against USF. I mean, what kind of Tiger team do you think we see? I know you kind of mentioned it earlier, but what Tiger team do we see tonight? Do we see the team that we kind of got a glimpse of in the second half against Wichita State, or do we see the Tiger team that has kind of made games close to start conference
first
play?
Half against SMU?
Yeah.
Right. I hope it carries over. We all hope it carries over. I would love to see it. I don't know. I could easily see this team reverting back to some of those slow first half starts for whatever reason. It seems to happen at home for the most part. And then the fact that they will play in New Orleans, they will play Tulane. Mm-hmm. Maybe some of the guys kind of thinking ahead a little bit. And I know we're talking, going back to my interview or our interview with Andy Borman, they stress that. They make sure that it's game by game, as all coaches do, right? I think, and look, USF comes in with a decent record and a very capable team, so hopefully they'll be ready to go from the get-go. But the history would tell you probably a bit of a slow start because, like you said, even Wichita State was a slow start until they had that great second half. But we'd all love to see them just continue how they left Wichita.
Greg, last thing for you. I'm curious, after the game this weekend against Tulane, Tigers have a week off before going to UAB for that one. How big will it be for Penny Hardaway to have that full week off and really kind of dedicate that after, 5 or 6 games already in conference slate and kind of get ready for that, I guess you could almost say, second half of the conference slate?
That week is huge. You get a little bit of rest, and then it's to work. What did Cal used to call that, Camp Cal? Brett?
Yeah.
Is that what he said?
Get down to business.
Camp
Yeah,
Cal.
I don't think they can because of NCAA rules, but almost kind of two-a-day mode.
Yeah.
Right. They're restricted on the hours and the days and things of that nature. And I don't know those.
But a lot of time together.
Off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm. They're going to get used to each other that week.
Absolutely. And look, you have time to break down a lot of tape. You'll go and practice. You'll put new things in that you're going to want to use the rest of the way. May pull some things out. It's certainly a good chance for more camaraderie with all the players together, not just on a plane and on a bus and in the arena, being with each other in practice for a number of days before they head down to Birmingham for a pretty big battle against UAB.
And really team assessment time. We mentioned 2 players, Tomlin and a new addition, and maybe Jordan Brown with his return. That's going to need practice time.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question about it. They're not as well as they are playing. I guarantee you, if you sat here and talked to Penny, he would tell you we're not a finished product. We got things we got to improve on. And for anybody to sit out there and are out there sitting around and thinking, no, they're the best because they're a top 10 team. No, they got a ways to go defensively. We've seen them from time to time play to the level of the competition. So there are things that they can improve upon. It's great though to win and not play your best basketball, to just keep winning and winning and winning. But that week gives them a chance to address everything. And I guarantee you there will not be a stone unturned by Penny and his staff.
No, absolutely not. Well, it should be fun tonight for the Tigers as they take on South Florida at FedEx Forum. But, Greg, thanks so much for joining us. We'll do it again next Thursday.
Yes, guys. Thanks a lot. Be careful out there as well.
Right back.
You got it, Greg.
Thanks,
Greg Gaston with us every week to talk Tiger basketball in a year that feels wide open. Why not Memphis? Got to keep playing well on a challenging week that you've been trying to get out and enjoy all the great places to go to. Everybody at Jason's Deli wants you to be really safe and be careful getting out. Whether it's dining in, to go, or delivery, they've got you covered with wholesome food forever. It's a family thing, and at Jason's Deli, this is the time for all those soups. The great soups. Doesn't chili right now and a grilled cheese sandwich sound great? All the soups, all the breads, the spreads, the cheeses, the meat's also good at Jason's Deli, and they've got you covered with the chicken, the fire-roasted tortilla, the chicken noodles soup, spicy seafood gumbo, and that Texas-style chili beanless. Whether it's the cup or bowl, they've got it. And all the salads, like the Mesa chicken salad, and the Big Chef salad, my favorite, the taco salad, the chicken club salad, and that salad bar in every location at Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. There's a location near you, and inside a staple, the great salad bar with over 30 items to choose from for you to prepare it however you would like. Jason's Deli is all about choice, trans fat-free food. Regardless if you seek a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the Build Your Own, you will be delighted. Plenty of organic food to choose from. The catering anytime, anywhere. Start planning for your big game party now. And you always can check them out online as well. And if you're really brave, the complimentary free ice cream at Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova.
Well, let's get to a break. When we come back, the NFL playoffs, they ramp back up this weekend, the divisional round. So let's get to a break. When we come back, we'll make some picks, not against the spread, just straight up who we think will win. We'll also talk some other news and notes in the NFL. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
What's wrong? You look bereft.
I am bereft.
What is it?
Well, there's only 3 Central Barbecue locations. The original Central Barbecue on Central, it's closed.
Oh, don't worry, little buckaroo. The location on Central will be back before you know it and better than ever. Now, there's still the location on Summer. You love that one, right?
Yeah.
And there's still the Central Barbecue downtown and the Central Barbecue on Poplar. You love those too, right?
I do love those.
So you could go to those, and then when Central Barbecue on Central reopens, it'll be like Christmas, but with pork.
I feel better already.
Let's make this the new year to drive your new Kia home from Gossett Kia on the Pike. Bobby J's waiting to put you in a new Kia today. So come hit the road with 41 MPG Highway in 2024 Kia Forte LXS, $239 a month, $27.99 due at signing. Or get 7 passenger seating in a 2023 Kia Sorento LX. We Gossett at $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing. And if you want your new ride to be a 2024 Kia Telluride LX, we Gossett at $449 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36-month lease plus Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get to Gossett Kia today, 1900 Covington Pike. Online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee. Forte RE722-812, MSRP 21590. Sorrento PG 242-710, MSRP 33010. Telluride RG 462822, MSRP 38705. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/31/2024 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Hey there, business ballers and entrepreneurs. Ready to make your financial dreams come true? Well, get ready to score big with Swish Funding, the slam dunk solution for your funding needs. Just like that satisfying swish when the ball goes in without touching the rim, Swish Funding guarantees you a seamless funding experience. Whether it's expanding your business, upgrading your equipment, or tackling unexpected challenges, qualifying's easier than a layup. If you've got at least $25,000 in monthly revenue and have been in business for at least a year, you're already on the court. Swish Funding's team of financial coaches guide you every step of the way. No more banking red tape, no more endless waits, just quick, decisive action to get you back in the game. Don't let those funding opportunities slip away like a loose ball. Head over to swishradio.com and slam dunk your financial goals today. Remember, it's not just a shot in the dark, it's a surefire swish. Swishradio.com, where your success story is our winning game.
Top 25 Memphis basketball is back at FedEx Forum Thursday, January 18th at 6 for the 6 Main game. Come out as we celebrate you, the 6 Main. Mystery giveaway to the first 1,000 fans and special in-game presentations celebrating you. Be on the lookout on Memphis Tigers social media for special giveaways around the city. Be there and be loud, 6th Main. Purchase your tickets at gotigersgo.com/tickets.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. We still see some dangerous driving conditions out here, not only on some of the major routes, but also on some of these secondary routes as well. If it's snow covered, it could be some ice tucked up underneath there, so be careful. It's going to freeze again tonight. Traffic's moving over here right now on 240 east from Mill Branch all the way out to 385. Weimer's Jewelry, located 7525 Highway 64. They want you to know they are your Valentine's Day headquarters. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. And Saturday, we're right back to the NFL for the divisional round. Texans, Ravens, Packers, 49ers on Saturday. On Sunday, Bucks, Lions, Chiefs, and Bills to wrap up the weekend. And as always, we're going to make our picks against the spread tomorrow during Friday Football Forecast. But we've been doing straight-up picks, so we got to get to those right now. And Brett, last week, Johnny was the impressive...
Terrific start.
A great start for him. I wish I was the one that reached out to him earlier today to get his picks so I could just copy and paste those for this weekend. But I did not, so I'll just have to use my own brain for it.
I've got him. He went 5-1 last weekend. This is just to advance in the bracket. No bracket. We know the winners meet after this weekend in both of them. Last weekend it was a little bit shaky on seeding. On the seeding front, Brian, what team do you think has the most pressure on them this weekend? Of these 8 teams playing, who is really feeling the pressure? Might even get some of the Cowboys treatment if they were to lose.
I think it's the team facing the team that just beat the Cowboys. I think it's the 49ers this weekend. Just kind of what has been built up about this team over the last couple of years, and this
really
is kind
close.
of the go for it year. You're the number 1 seed. If they go out at home with all this time off and lose to the Packers, I think they get the same type of reaction that the Cowboys have gotten.
If the 49ers lose to the Packers, that should make the Cowboys feel a little better. But if they just put it on them, you're going to hear a lot of people in the Cowboys world going, "That's what we should have done."
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right, and we'll have to see what kind of game it is. But if the if the 49ers go out and it's over at halftime, and people are trying to find what am I going to watch on a Saturday night because this game is not entertaining, I think there's going to be a lot of questions in Dallas Cowboy world, especially after we just had the announcement of Mike McCarthy staying. I think a lot of people will say, well, we're keeping this guy that got blown out by the Packers, and the 49ers, the team we're supposed to be competing with in the NFC, just made it look easy against them.
What team has no pressure on them? Just let it rip. We're sitting here having a good old time, and whatever happens. Our best days are ahead of us.
I think it's the Lions. I think everyone's just happy that they won. I think
they also the Lions could win 2 games in a week, which would match what they've done in playoffs almost for all their history.
That would be incredible. I mean, it really would. Looking around at these other 3 games, I think for me it would have to be the Lions. I think the Bills, there's been that pressure of when are you going to, go
Texans,
for it.
Pretty house money.
I guess the Texans would be house money. That's probably a pretty good one going up against the Ravens.
But the Lions may be more because even in an improved Lions year, nobody was really expecting them to be in the NFC Championship game.
No, not at all. So I would probably either say the Texans or Lions. Now that I'm looking at it, with the Texans, I don't think many people thought they were going to win last week against the Browns. So now
can the Chiefs play the respect card? They're counting us out too soon. They're not giving us any chance. We are the champs.
I think maybe a little bit, but I think
you can.
I think that's more of a season as a whole.
And if nothing else, you can go that full Bama mantra. They hate us because they hate us.
That's right. they the success we've had, they just want half of that success.
I guess you always can pull that. Nobody gave us a chance. No, everybody gave you a chance with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce. Now those receivers have been really average, and that may show again this weekend. The Packers are really kind of playing carefree.
Certainly, yeah. I mean, I think Packers are certainly one, going into a road environment for your first game, coming out of it with a win, now having to go on the road again to play the 49ers. I think certainly playing with house money.
What individual player has the most pressure on him this weekend?
I would probably say Lamar Jackson.
No doubt.
I think that's probably a runaway winner.
That is, and fair or unfair, that goes with it. I mean, he is the best player in the league. He will win his second MVP, and he should. It's not an individual sport.
No, it's a team game, and people are going to talk a lot about him and the Ravens' success and what they do, especially being at the quarterback position. If they go out there and lose to the Texans, there's going to be a lot of scrutiny for this team and for the quarterback. But if they go and win a couple of games, maybe even appear in the Super Bowl, I think certainly a lot of praise for him and that team.
Baker Mayfield or C.J. Stroud on player just letting it rip?
And maybe I'm just playing too much into the personality traits of these two quarterbacks. I'd probably say it's Baker. I feel like every time he is out on a field, he's just cutting loose and letting it go.
He can play that. Y'all counted me out. Y'all had me finished. Y'all had me out of the league
multiple times. I think it wasn't just one time, and then you come back. It's been a couple of times that he's been kind of counted out, and now I said it yesterday. Just that video of him after the game on ESPN Monday night, where he's running back to the locker room. He's throwing his armband into the crowd, his towel into the crowd. He's running and celebrating with his teammates. It was really fun to watch.
Our friend Bill Bender at the Sporting News, they did a big piece on ranking these quarterbacks on who had the best college career. Well, there are 2 Heisman Trophy winners remaining, and that is Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield. Sporting News, and I agree. I think Baker Mayfield had the best college
Absolutely.
career, and even a better college career than a fellow Heisman Trophy winner. His team did more.
Yeah, no, his team certainly did more, and I think both great players in college. But I'd probably have to give it to Baker.
I would too. C.J. Stroud, if he had pulled off, and they were close to it, if he had pulled off that upset as the clock struck midnight last year against Georgia, and I think they would have gone on and won it.
Yeah.
He could be there with, hey, what about my career?
I think you're right, and really, I think Johnny Radio brought this up either today or yesterday, but thinking back to the pre-draft process with C.J. Stroud and just the I forget what it's called, the test where he did so poorly on, and people were questioning, is this a first-round quarterback? Should this be a top 3 quarterback? All the questions about him, and even going back, I've referenced this a couple times this season of C.J. Stroud, and it seemed like all the criticism to him pre-draft was not based on his performances. It was based on what previous Ohio State quarterbacks had done once they got to the NFL, and to see him and this team, DeMeco Ryans in his first year as the head coach, this turnaround in Houston, and now playing, like we said, with house money against the Ravens, it's really cool to see C.J. Stroud succeeding.
It is big-time player, and I love these storylines. I love these games. Did you see the 88-year-old 66-year season ticket holder today on Afternoon Sports Center? Matt Berry was interviewing for the Detroit Lions.
I did not know.
Just such a breath of fresh air. It was just so sweet and so fun and very engaged. I mean, mine really good.
That's awesome.
Very conversational. Was very comfortable on the air with Matt Berry, and I think Matt can make anybody comfortable, and such a fun-loving guy. And it was just talking about how excited he is to be at this point with a team that's just been battered by everybody through the years. All right, our picks. Johnny in the first game, Houston at Baltimore on Saturday. Johnny takes Baltimore. I take Baltimore. You going to make it a clean sweep?
Yeah, it's a clean sweep. I'm taking Baltimore. As much as I love watching
this is
CJ
just to
Stroud
win the game,
Texans,
no points.
Yeah, I've got to take the Ravens.
Yeah, got to. The afternoon game, Green Bay at San Francisco. Again, both of us have San Francisco.
Yeah, I'm also going to take San Francisco in this one.
Yeah, a lot of group locks. First game on Sunday, Tampa Bay at Detroit. Johnny and I both take Detroit.
I'm going to take Tampa Bay in this one. I'm going to take the upset here, and maybe Baker Mayfield can find some more magic with this Buccaneers team and pull the upset.
On Sunday, the late game, the last ticket punched into the NFL's version of the Final Four, Chiefs at Buffalo. Johnny takes Kansas City. I take the hometown Buffalo Bills. Who do you take?
Yeah, this one's the interesting one, the game of the weekend, I would say, and it sounds like still weather concerns up in Buffalo for this weekend. Yeah, imagine that. I'm going to stick with the Bills here at home, kind of going back to the Chiefs, and their offensive weapons this year just haven't looked as solid as they usually do. Bills have been playing really, really well, 7-2 at home. Chiefs 6-2 on the road, but I'll stick with the Bills here.
He won't get the full Mike McCarthy Cowboys treatment, but it'll approach it. If Josh Allen lost this one at home, he will. And late in the game, what if Stephon Diggs starts slinging helmets and gesticulating wildly at him? This is one that would last all winter with him. It'd stick with him.
Yeah, no, it really would, and he has been kind of in that same conversation of such a talented quarterback, but when is he going to do it? It's in the postseason, just can't get anything done, and I at least the last 2 years, I think, maybe even the last 3 years, I've had
more time for him than Lamar.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've had the Bills, Brett, in my Super Bowl, maybe even winning my Super Bowl the last 3 years, and just waiting on it to happen. I think that's most of the NFL.
And everybody, kind of catching a wave team this year, and now at home. And so there any talk of this game being moved or
I haven't seen
postponed?
Anything. I haven't seen anything. I brought up yesterday that the hockey game in Buffalo had been postponed to tonight, and I'd seen something that they were going to
cancel hockey. It's bad.
Well, it's bad. But I saw something that said they were just monitoring the weather with I think another snowstorm supposed to be rolling in at some point this week. So I don't know. I haven't seen anything about this one also getting pushed back, but it sounds like some more nasty weather going up there.
Start the new year the right way. Head down to All-Star Chevrolet down Highway 78, first exit into Mississippi's Kraft Goodman Road, and you're there. And that's where you can drive a new Silverado into 2024. All-Star Chevrolet, they've got financing down to 1.9 or up to $7,500 cash back, and you can get another $2,250 with your trade on select vehicles. You'll love all the deals you can get at All-Star, like for the Chevy Equinox, the Trailblazers, financing down to 1.9, no payment for 90 days. That's 3 months with no payments, and your good credit deserves it, and you'll get it at All-Star. If you want a certified pre-owned Chevy or any pre-owned, All-Star, they have them. They're loaded up. Lots of pre-owned Silverados, Tahoes. They got that Traverse with the third row seating, so we all can do more together. Broncos and so much more. If it's not on the lot, ask Jeff, and he'll get what you need. All their contacts, they can get it in here quickly. Kevin and Jeff want to wish everyone a happy and healthy new year from all the staff, from Drew and the whole team down at All-Star. Remember, it's not South Haven, not Bartlett, Mount Moriah, or Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy today, and they're plowed. Head down there to All-Star Chevrolet or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Well, let's get to a break. When we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
We all appreciate luxury. We love the newest technology. We want something that sparkles and looks great. Well, I've got it all in one place. It's called Genesis of Olive Branch, right at the corner of Highway 78. That's Lamar. And the first exit in Mississippi, that's Craft Road. Turn left and you will see Genesis of Olive Branch. And right now, you can get the 2024 Genesis GV70 starting at $49,480 with special financing as low as 3.49% on select models. How about the 2024 Genesis GV80? A little bit bigger, starting at $55,995, financing as low as 5.49% with a $2,000 rebate when trading a luxury brand. Call them. They'll even bring you a Genesis at your work or your home for a test drive. They're convinced that when you drive a Genesis, you're going to want one. Call 662-890-6684. Ask for Vinny. Genesis of Olive Branch.
At Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf, there's something that binds us all, the collective goal to transcend the ordinary. Introducing the Cobra Dark Speed Driver. Engineered with advanced aerodynamics, power bridge technology, and a large hot face for more speed and consistency. Visit us in store for a free custom fitting at Edwin Watts Golf Shops or shop us online at worldwidegolf.com. Get there.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings & Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings & Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings & Grill.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 120 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats to watch the playoff games and to watch all the basketball. It's so easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk, chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
It's the Start Something New sales event, and it's on now at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. Start your new year off in a new ride with 2023 Jeep Renegade. We Gossett at $24,990. How about a 2023 Grand Wagoneer 111 4x4, $10,000 off MSRP. Plus, get unparalleled power in a new 2022 Charger Scat Pack. Your time to get $10,000 off MSRP at Gossett on the Pike. And there's never been a better time than right now for 2023 Dodge Charger SXT. We Gossett only $29,990. So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett on the Pike, or shop online at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
Renegade Triple P 56029 MSRP 30,040. Wagoneer PS 508,331 MSRP 112,285. Charger NH 251,172 MSRP 58,020. SXT PH 508,657 MSRP 35,930. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Well, we're having some computer problems. I'm sure it's the weather. It's
blame it on the weather. Blame it on the supply chain.
I should blame it on myself. Brett, as you know, I am back in here in the producer's room, kind of
doing a lot,
double shifting, and I completely forgot about it, if I'm being honest. And by the time I tried to pull it up, it was too late.
It's a lot going on, but it's big number time. I'll go first.
All right.
And I mentioned earlier my number was going to be around Jaren Jackson. It's 305. In his 6th year, Jaren Jackson has appeared in 305 games. That's about 50 a year. For $75 million and for leadership going forward for this team, I think it would be worth a lot for this team the rest of the year, the younger players, to be able to look back and go, back in 2024 when we were out of it really all year, that guy was out there in that lineup every night. He was playing in those games. When he could have passed, he was out there. We didn't have Ja. We didn't have Steve Adams. Didn't have Desmond Bain. Had Marcus Smart out for a lot of years. This is when he can become a leader of the team. We don't need Jaren Jackson in street clothes sitting on the end of the bench, almost, kind of cutting up on the sideline, like when you have the 12th man in at a college game and the student section's wanting him to shoot.
Yeah.
We need him engaged. We don't need him being the class clown. We don't need him kind of being the new version of the fun-loving class clown that Tony was.
Right.
Because he's a lot more important than Tony Allen ever was to this franchise.
No, you're absolutely right.
Game face time instead of cutting up time.
Yeah, I mean, a former top 5 pick and one of the leaders of this team.
Paid like it.
Yeah, and I think, we talked about it earlier, of kind of being that leader and becoming that vocal leader with these young guys, I think would be super beneficial for Jaren Jackson. My big number today is 25. Jamal Shead, who a lot of Tiger fans will remember, hit the buzzer beater last year when Houston beat Memphis here in Memphis.
At
FedEx Forum, right. Jamal Shead of the Houston Cougars is the only Division I player in the last 25 years to score 25-plus points, dish out 10-plus assists, shoot 75% from the field, shoot 60% from three, and shoot 100% from the charity stripe in the same game. He did that.
That's why they call him free.
It's unbelievable. I mean, to score 25 or more points and shoot 75% from the field and 60% from the three-point line is incredible. And then on top of that, being perfect from the charity stripe, a really, really impressive game from Jamal Shead.
An impressive year for Kelvin Sampson in Houston. Again, the Big 12 has made it tougher on them, but they are 15-2. They have 4 quad 1 wins. The 2 losses are quad 1, and they sit atop the net. The net loves them. Mm-hmm. The net loves the Big 12. The net is falling in love with the SEC.
It really is, yeah. No, you're right about that.
It likes some Tennessee.
It sure does, and Houston, you're right. I mean, has been playing really, really well. A big win for them last night against Texas Tech, a Texas Tech team that's now in the top 25. Had back-to-back losses on the road, Iowa State and TCU, and that's going to happen in the Big 12. I mean, it is like playing a tournament game every single time you play a conference game in the Big 12, just because of how good that conference is. But you're right; they've been playing really, really well.
Thin night tonight in college basketball, really busier, more action tonight in the NBA than across college basketball. The Tigers play, but not a lot in the top 10. One top 10 game tonight that will matter. Michigan had the good win Monday in Columbus. Can they follow that up and string something together tonight at Chrysler, in Ann Arbor, at home against Illinois? Illinois is a favorite on the road there. And that matters for Memphis Tigers fans.
Absolutely.
For Michigan to get hot and just get to a winning record.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. And Illinois on the road, only a 2.5-point favorite against a Michigan team that's really been struggling. But you mentioned Monday afternoon got a big win against Ohio State, and now at home we know, and I'm excited to ask Kevin about this in our next segment. The suspension for Doug McDaniel, their leading scorer, a suspension that only takes place in road games. So he will be active tonight at home against Illinois. So yeah, that will be a really, really fun game to watch tonight. The only other top 25 game is Florida Atlantic at home against Wichita State, tipping off at the same time as the Tigers. We talked about that one earlier, but obviously the Tigers have seen Wichita State in their last game, and we'll have those two games later in the season against FAU.
We have 8 teams left in the NFL. No way to get to our doomsday Super Bowl. It's not going to be Cleveland and Detroit. Still can get one of the two left that have never been to a Super Bowl, Cleveland or Houston. Only 4 remain around the league. Cleveland, Houston, Jacksonville, and Detroit. Detroit and Houston remain this weekend, so they still can. That could even be the Super Bowl. I don't think it's likely.
I don't think so, but I mean that could almost be our second option of doomsday Super Bowl.
Can you have 2 doomsdayers?
Well, I mean, sure. I mean,
I guess so.
The doomsdayers, I'm sure they have plenty of ideas. Yeah, exactly. So we can have 2. I don't think 2 is too many, but no, I'm excited for this weekend.
Well, I wonder what the odds would pay you right now on a Houston Detroit Super Bowl.
I'm sure more than you need.
Put that in the app during the break and see what they pay us.
I'll see if I can find it. But let's go ahead and wrap up our second hour, get to a break. When we come back to start our third and final hour, we're talking college basketball with Kevin Sweeney.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous. Schedule your holiday gift deliveries today at hogsfly.com.
All 650 acquisition fee. Forte RE722-812, MSRP 21590. Sorrento PG 242-710, MSRP 33010. Telluride RG 462822, MSRP 38705. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/31/2024 with approved credit dealer stock only.
Hey, Jeff Allen, Happy New Year, dude. Hey, what's happening over there at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
Let's start the new year off right in your new Kia with 41 MPG Highway 2024 Kia Forte LXS $239 a month, $27.99 due at signing. Got a big family? Get a 2023 Kia Sorrento LX $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing. Plus a 2024 Kia Telluride LX $449 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36 months lease.
And every Gossett Kia comes with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
And stop by and see the all-new EV9 all-electric SUV. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMTMoriah.com.
Roofs, and more roofs. Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair simply because they don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance claims for policyholders each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. Call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates, consultation, and claim repairs. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, diagnosing problems, and estimating is second to none, commercial and residential. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. All you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and Mulehide with labor warranties up to 50 years on all of our jobs. Metro Builders provides roof repairs across the Mid-South. Call Metro Builders to schedule your inspection free. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
Top 25 Memphis basketball is back at FedEx Forum Thursday, January 18th at 6 for the 6th Main game. Come out as we celebrate you, the 6th Main. Mystery giveaway to the first 1,000 fans and special in-game presentations celebrating you. Be on the lookout on Memphis Tigers social media for special giveaways around the city. Be there and be loud, 6th Main. Purchase your tickets at gotigersgo.com/tickets.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. A couple of minor accidents out here the last hour or so. Right now it's moving where it normally would be heavy on 240 East, passing Perkins, headed up to 385 Billmores Parkway. Continuing outbound, we're still concerned with some of these routes out here that are still covered with snow. Most likely ice is underneath. Again, just be careful. It's going to freeze again tonight. Weimer's Jewelry, located 7525 Highway 64, is your Valentine's Day headquarters. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn, Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. And joining us now from CBB Central and Sports Illustrated, Kevin Sweeney. He joins us every single week to talk college basketball, and he joins us now. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us. A lot to get to in the college basketball world, but I do want to start with the Memphis Tigers. They're back in action tonight at home against South Florida, looking to win their 11th straight game. But there's been some rumors, there's been some stories written about the possibility of Jordan Brown returning to this roster after missing about a month of action. Really kind of MIA. We at first heard it was a sickness, and then he remained out. The stories kind of started coming out that he wasn't in fact sick and was no longer with the team, but now it sounds like he wants to be back. This coaching staff is looking to bring him back, but it's going to be up to the players on if they want him back or not. If you're the Memphis Tigers, do you take Jordan Brown back at this point in the season?
I think you take Jordan Brown back if Jordan Brown is willing to come in with nothing guaranteed.
Yeah.
If Jordan Brown's willing to come in and work, like there's value in having another 6'11", 7-foot guy who can post up, who can score around the basket. But I also don't think this Memphis team is lacking in size. Like, I think they have the bodies between Dandridge and Jourdain and Naquan Tomlin to hang in against pretty much everyone down low. And so because they're not desperate, I think you have to approach it like, all right, like if he wants to come, he wants to work, he wants to earn his minutes, that's great. Like, let's go, let's do this thing. But I also wouldn't mess with the chemistry if it feels like that's what's going to be the problem.
How do you think it should be approached by the collective media in Memphis on that day that he's announced back in the first availability with Coach Hardaway, who sold the sickness story, and we know that's not accurate. We know he was not sick, and if he was, it wasn't for this prolonged amount of time. And I know they can, and I know they will probably try to hide around HIPAA. HIPAA only involves the university telling private medical information about those players. We can ask Jordan Brown or Coach Hardaway all we want about it, and they can keep going back to that. That can be the default, almost like pleading the fifth. But at some point, it strains credulity, it strains credibility, and especially for a coach that was out there during COVID, at one time saying 100%, then saying 90%, and we get up to Nashville in a game and it's down to 3 players, and 1 was a walk-on and 2 was reserves that were only 1 that were vaccinated.
Look, I think there's a level of transparency that you owe a fan base as large as Memphis, right? I understand coaches want to play things coy, right? I mean, certainly, I don't know the specifics of the Jordan Brown situation, but I think there's probably a reason why they didn't want everything out there as it was happening, and then they kind of backed themselves into a corner. But you don't have to tell everybody everything. But I do think that there's a level of accountability and a level of clarity that has to come, because look, at the end of the day, I mean, this program has a huge following. It fills an NBA arena. If you want all of those benefits, you have to give a little too. And if that means, someone admitting that they're wrong and taking responsibility, like there's got to be a story here. And I don't think it will just go away. Is it the end of the world? Probably not. But I think it's something that should be and hopefully will be addressed.
And Kevin, whether this is an issue or not, I'm not talking about Memphis specifically. I'm just talking about the premise of it, really college sports wide. How much do you think NIL may be being used for motivation, by production, by being in shape, by adhering to team rules? Do you think there are places that are playing the carrot stick game with NIL?
I think so. I think there's also players that are trying to leverage mid-season more stuff, right? Why am I looking around and hearing what other guys on the team are making and I'm producing more? Well, what can I do to hold you hostage and make sure that I get a little extra bread? So, yeah, I think it's inevitable that becomes part of it. I do think the majority of people involved with NIL and the majority of players approach things very professionally. But inevitably, there are bad actors, and there are people who will get involved and complain and complain or try to leverage situations where they think they have the upper hand. And I think that is just kind of a byproduct of the disorganized system we're living in right now.
Here locally, a lot of people have been trying to figure out what to make of the Tigers being number 10 in the country in the AP poll, but then being number 40 in the net. Then you go to KenPom, kind of these advanced analytics, and see them at number 44. From a national standpoint, when you look at a team that is number 10 in the country in the AP, but number 44 on a site like KenPom, what is your biggest takeaway from that, and what do you see from KenPom putting the Tigers at number 44 right now?
I mean, we've talked about it. I think a lot of the advanced analytics are built on how are you beating teams, not necessarily are you beating teams. Memphis has done a great job of finding ways to win games, even games they haven't played particularly well. Right? UTSA, UTSA was not a good performance. No. Memphis probably should have lost to UTSA, and that would have been a really horrible loss. And the metrics, they attempt to account for that, right? Value things beyond just like the binary win, binary loss. And I think if you were a coach at Memphis, you're probably pretty concerned with how you played against UTSA. You'd probably be pretty concerned with how you played in the last month.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that, everything's going to be smooth every night. You're going to win every game by 20. But I think there's an expectation that they should play better than they have. But at the end of the day, like, they found ways to win, and they have wins over, highly regarded opponents. Some of those wins haven't necessarily aged quite as well as you would have hoped, but they still have quite a few high major wins. They have an incredible win-loss record of 15-2. They have no bad losses, and when you look around the rest of the country, you get past 10, 11, 12 in the polls, and it gets thin very quickly. So yeah. I guess Memphis has earned that poll ranking. They've also earned their KenPom ranking in a very strange way.
Fair enough. I think you can do both. Kevin Sweeney with us. Kevin, when will you start doing your bracketology?
Right at the beginning of February.
I like it. Where do you think you'll have the Tigers slot? Obviously not anywhere close to the beginning of February, but right now, where do you think a good range for the Tigers are?
Yeah, I would imagine that they would be like in the 4 or 5 seed conversation right now.
Yeah.
I do think it's going to continue to evolve based on how some of these wins continue to shape up, right? I mean, where in the net will Michigan and Arkansas and Virginia and Clemson start to settle in? I mean, those are really huge wins, and right now those teams are not playing very good basketball. And I think it will be interesting to see how much Memphis' seed starts to slowly fall, even if they keep winning, just because of everybody around them, not necessarily doing their part, pulling their weight. Is that fair? I don't know. I mean, that's kind of the nature of the beast, but. I think there's quite a bit more downside than I would have said there was a couple of weeks ago, just because some of those wins have not aged nearly as well. But I still think the upside of getting into the top 4 seed conversation is certainly very real.
Middle of January, but it hadn't happened in a long time. Hasn't happened since Billy Donovan's 07-08 Florida Gators. Can UConn go back to back?
I think they can. I mean, it was so impressive what they did last night to Creighton, and just in general, what they've been able to do with Donovan Clingan out of the lineup. He comes back yesterday, plays 16 minutes. He's a difference maker at the rim. Look, I think it'll be really hard. I think there've certainly been teams in the past that have been really good and just not been able to repeat, just because pulling it off 6 straight 2 years in a row is just so challenging. But I think they have the making. They have the experience. They have the backcourt play with Tristan Newton. They have the shooting with Alex Caravan and Cam Spencer. They have the size with Donovan Clingan. They have the coach in Dan Hurley. I mean, they have all the makings of a potential title team. It's just a matter of, can they pull it off again in March?
Yeah, and I want to correct myself, 06-07 for Billy Donovan's Florida Gators, because we sadly know who won it in 08, and it was not the Florida Gators, it was Kansas.
That's right. Kevin, I want to move quickly off of that because I don't want to. I don't want to remember.
I left you hanging. I gave you no opening segue.
Well, it just makes,
that was awful.
It makes me sad just thinking back to that.
It is awful.
But Kevin, one team I've really enjoyed watching over these last couple of weeks has been North Carolina. They've won now 7 straight games by double-digit points. But when you look at this roster, and especially the starting lineup,
you saw it in person.
Yeah. But when you look at this North Carolina roster, especially the starting lineup, it's been a lot of newcomers. They got a couple transfers in there, a true freshman running the point. How big have these transfers and newcomers, I guess I should say, been for North Carolina this season? And how sold, if at all, are you on Hubert Davis's team this year?
I'm very sold. I was down there last weekend. I went to Chapel Hill and Cameron Indoor and saw both in the same day. And Carolina is incredibly impressive.
That's a day.
That really is.
It is as good as it gets. But I talked to Harrison Ingram from Stanford, one of their transfers. Mm-hmm. He said they just have a real role allocation understanding in terms of everybody knows who they are. R.J. Davis is the guy who's going to go hunt shots. Baycott's going to sit down low and dominate the rim. Ingram's going to shoot threes. Cormac Ryan's going to shoot threes. Elliot Cadeau, the freshman's going to play fast and get downhill and distribute. Last year's team, it was R.J. Davis takes a turn, then Caleb Love takes a turn. They couldn't maximize what they were together. This year, they certainly can. They're a great unit. They're defending at an extremely high level. I think they have all the makings of a team that could really make some noise in March.
Even with traffic, what's your total drive time from Dean Dome to Cameron Indoor?
It was 25 minutes or so. I mean, it was pretty
incredible.
easy.
That's radio station to FedEx Forum to go from Dean Dome to Cameron Indoor.
I beat a little traffic leaving Chapel Hill because I stuck around for the media availabilities and whatnot. But they're very close by. You couldn't really script like two different venues. I mean, Carolina's is a big, not quite NBA size, but close. I mean, has a concourse, concessions, and Duke is like, I mean, it is truly like you were in like an old Catholic school. There's like no room in the hallways. They're like carpet. There's no concourse. There's no bowels of the arena. You are on the floor. You are tight. But the fan base and the atmosphere is everything, and it's a really cool experience.
Do you think there's anybody, probably wouldn't admit it, that is quietly a fan of both and goes regularly to both as a fan?
Maybe non-locals, right? Maybe there's somebody who's moved to the area for work or something. They just love ball. But I think it would be hard to grow up there and not pick a side.
I think it'd be impossible.
Kevin, back on North Carolina, because I was just thinking when you mentioned Caleb Love and kind of that roster last year, could you make an argument that both sides got better in Caleb Love transferring? Caleb Love now goes to a system that kind of fits his play a little bit more, better at Arizona, but now North Carolina, they've got the young freshman Cadeau, who really, like you said, is kind of a pass-first guard, more of a distributor. Could you say that both sides have benefited?
I think there's no question they have.
Yeah.
I think North Carolina just wound up in a situation where they could accentuate their players' strengths, right? I don't think R.J. Davis and Caleb Love could really play together at a high level. And I think it was made even harder when North Carolina was playing a 3-man in Leaky Black and a 4-man in Pete Nance, who weren't great shooters. So there wasn't a lot of space for those guys to operate. Now there's great space for both of them. Arizona has one of the best spacing offenses in the country. Carolina has great space. Davis has the ball in his hands all the time. Caleb has the ball in his hands quite a bit for Arizona. I mean, it's been a great match, and I think there's a lot of negativity with Caleb, and he owns some of what happened last year, but it's certainly not all on him. It was a collective failure, and it has been really nice to see him bounce back and play such a big role for a really good Arizona team.
Kevin, earlier, Bryant and I were talking about the net. Loves them some Tennessee and really starting to fall for the SEC. I know the sample size, but what do you think are the top 2 or 3 leagues out there right now?
Yeah, look, I still think the Big 12 is a different beast. The travel is so challenging. The road atmospheres are so good. And I just think top to bottom, there's an incredible depth. I mean, when you're talking about, the 11th or 12th best team being UCF, who just beat Kansas, or Texas, who's certainly underwhelming right now with Rodney Terry, but has impressive talent, former 4 and 5 stars all over the place. I mean, that I think speaks to the depth of that league. I think the SEC is right there, though, especially given the struggles in the Big Ten. The Big Ten is down. To me, it would be the Big 12, the SEC, and the Big East in some order. I think it'd probably be Big 12, Big East, SEC, 1, 2, 3 in my mind, but I think it's very close. So the SEC, I mean, we've talked a lot about the coaches in that league and how it's been able to build itself up, but I think this year is as good as it's been in terms of the depth of talent, the athleticism throughout the league, the skill level, and I think the experience too. I think the portal has really helped the SEC get older, not be so reliant on freshmen. Not just, obviously Kentucky is going to be Kentucky, but I think when you look around the league, there's a lot of really old teams. I think that has paid off for them so far.
It's always easy to bet the no one's going to win it from this league. The SEC hadn't had a champion since 2012 with Kentucky. Right now, I would bet the no, and again, that's easy, but I would bet the SEC might get a bunch of teams in, might have a really crowded Elite 8 field, but I would bet no on anybody winning it.
Yeah, look, I don't know that there's necessarily a tier 1 title contender, depending on where you cut things off. I do think Kentucky can be that team. Mm-hmm. And I will say, I think Auburn and Tennessee are getting real close. I mean, I watched Tennessee yesterday against Florida, or maybe it was 2 days ago. The days kind of melt together this time of year. But I mean, I was so impressed with how Dalton Connect has, continued to emerge. I think you felt once teams settle in and he's been scouted a little bit more, it'll get harder for him. And he, if anything, has just looked better and better. And Zakai Ziegler is playing at a much higher level, coming off the ACL, slower starts the year. He's now back to being one of the best point guards in the country. That's a pretty scary combo, I think. And then Auburn has 15 wins this season, all by double figures.
Yeah.
The 2 losses, 2 close games, 2 good teams, Baylor and App State. App State will be a tournament level team. And, we'll see how they're tested this weekend. Ole Miss at home and then heading into two tough roadies at Alabama and Mississippi State. But I think Auburn, when you look at their improved backcourt to go with Janai Broome up front and Bruce Pearl coaching them up, I truly think that team can go to a Final Four.
I think I would bet Auburn if I had to bet a yes. I think I would bet them before I would Tennessee because I would prefer Pearl over Rick Barnes.
I mean, the history is on your side there, my friend. So I can't argue you.
Yeah, it really is. Talking to Kevin Sweeney from CBB Central and Sports Illustrated. He joins us every week to talk college basketball. Miami has really been struggling lately. Last night, a loss against Florida State, but now they've lost 3 of their last 4, including a 9-point loss at home against Louisville. What is the biggest issue you see right now with this Miami team, and are they going to be able to turn this around? Do you think there is a turnaround here in SEC play?
Look, I don't think that they're ready to fall off a cliff. I think they'll be okay. I just think they're more of a bubble team this year. I think they've missed. I don't think they have such elite shot making like they did a year ago. When you were playing Nigel Pack at the point and Isaiah Wong at the 2, next to Wooga Poplar, I just felt like they had so much firepower. And this year they're playing Bensley Joseph, who's more of a pass first guy at the point, defender, steady player, but he's not as much of a threat. And I think teams have been able to key in on Pack and Poplar a little bit more, made life a little bit more difficult. I don't think they've really missed Jordan Miller. I mean, Jordan Miller was maybe the most underrated player in the country last year, developed into an NBA player. Matthew Cleveland, the Florida State transfer, has shot the ball extremely well for them. But to me, he's not quite the same level of player in terms of his overall impact on the game as Jordan Miller was. And so I think they've missed him. So, look, I think Miami will be around the bubble. Certainly that loss to Louisville is a head scratcher and a big red flag. The Florida State loss could wind up being quad 3 as well. That doesn't help. But I don't think it's over yet. There's just a lot of teams in that kind of bubbly pecking order in the ACC. Virginia is going to be around there. I think NC State, Wake probably will be in that mix as well. We'll see if Clemson falls off and winds up in that bubble picture. So lots to be worked out in that conference kind of throughout the week.
This time next year, Texas will be making its way around the SEC and at every place in every sport because every SEC place, they're ready for a big piece of big old bad Texas. People are going to be doing the horns down like waving a red cape at El Toro. There's not going to be anything to stop the fans, and I don't think you're going to be able to stop the players. If you can do Texas horns up, you can do them horns down. I thought that was a bad look last night.
Yeah, look, I think one of the things that's so essential in being a head coach today is figuring out how to worry about what's important and not worry about what's not. If you're Rodney Terry and you blow a 17-point lead at home to UCF, the first thing on your mind shouldn't be that those guys are taunting me and it makes me mad, right? You got to handle your business, right? At the end of the day, you're the head coach of Texas. You're one of the best programs in the country. One of the best athletic programs in all of college sports. You don't lose that game, and you got to bring it. You got to look internally and deal with that stuff. Not be worried about what people were doing in a handshake line. Horns down is not egregious. It is not some massive symbol of disrespect. Let's grow up. And look, I mean, I think I was critical of the Rodney Terry hire. I think he did kind of force their hand, and the job that he did last year, he deserves a lot of credit for. But you were hiring a guy whose longer term resume was middling at UTEP, not dominating the Big 12 like he did last year. And I think Texas is going to feel that. I think they're starting to feel that already. And digging yourself an even deeper hole by going out in the media and complaining about horns down is certainly not helping matters.
No, not at all. Kevin, last thing for you. Last week when you joined us, we talked about UCLA and just really the disappointing start to the season and especially start to conference play and just kind of the mess of a roster they have over there. But now they've won back-to-back games against Washington, needed a massive comeback last night against Arizona State, and now sets up a massive game this weekend against Arizona. What do you expect to see in that one on Saturday? Does what they've done these past 2 games give you any hope of them maybe turning the ship around and finishing off conference strong?
Look, I don't think they're beating Arizona. No. I just don't think they have enough firepower. This team can't really score. And I think that Mick understands that. But I also think that 90-44 loss to Utah just kind of got everybody on the same page again. It's all right, everybody thinks we suck. we've got no chance. Like, let's battle. Let's go out. Let's defend. Let's do what we have to do to be in games. I think Mick has also done a good job of starting to trust his young guys more. I mean, those are the talented players on this team. You know, this team is flawed. I think he knows that. I think he knows they're not a tournament team, but I also think he looks up and says, you know, we got to develop these guys and give them a chance. And I think he started to do that a little bit. Mick Cronin can still coach some ball, right?
Yeah.
Like people decided randomly that like he could make the Sweet 16 3 years in a row, but like then snapped his fingers in 2023 and now forgot how to coach. Like the guy's pretty darn good. He's going to continue to be pretty darn good. I think UCLA will be a bit of a tricky out here in Pac-12 play.
Yeah.
What's your travel schedule for this weekend?
Yeah.
It's honestly one of the last quiet weekends I have. I mean, I'm going to watch it.
That's allowed.
There's not a lot in the Midwest this week, so I'm gonna stay home. I'm gonna sit in front of the TV, gonna watch ball for 12 hours, and hopefully not drive anyone nuts with tweets.
Well, enjoy the weekend. There's some really fun games, and it sounds like you're gonna have a lot of fun. Kevin, as always, a ton of fun. We'll do it again next week.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Kevin Sweeney with us every week, and we'll catch back up with him next Wednesday. And thanks so much to him and to everybody this week with a lot of challenging schedules this week. Hadn't it been, Bryant? And that goes with it. And in the college basketball world, they have it. And then when you get closer to tournament time and springtime, a lot of thunderstorms and delayed flights and things like this. I brought up AccuWeather for the weather Sunday in Buffalo. And this is what it says. High 26, low 18, breezy with considerable cloudiness. Be sure to wear layers when going to the football game.
I love that. I mean, they know what they're doing, Brett. They've got it all covered. They know who their consumer is.
Where do they buy their stuff? What do they get?
That's a good question.
How come they can stay comfortable in that? I don't know how they do that, but I know this: to get a good jacket right now, and you need it, you can get it at Hewlett and Dunn. You can get good boots there. Hewlett and Dunn boot and jean on the historic square in Collierville since 1961. In fact, start there to warm up with all the outerwear. Charles Hall, he started working there in his teens, and now with his wife Laura, they are a great team, and they own the place, known for all the boots, but also the clothing. It keeps us so warm. Accessories and a cap for any team for any season. Western wear, safety toe, soft toe, work boots, rubber boots, boots for every occasion. At Hewlett and Dunn, on the square in Collierville. From head to toe, they have you covered with every brand imaginable. Dan Post, Anderson Bean area, whether for men or for women, those Filson jackets, all those jackets, the gloves, the outerwear. Stay warm and start it at Hewlett and Dunn. Men's and women's clothing, pants, jeans, shirts, shorts, outerwear. Going to be a while for the shorts, though. Outerwear and the best duckhead collection you'll find anywhere. Charles and Laura Hall invite you to 111 North Center Street or to HewlettDunn.com, but they want you to come by and visit on the square in Collierville. Sunglasses, boot care products, hats, and every area team snapback cool hat you can think of, like for the Tigers, for Tennessee, Mississippi State, the Razorbacks, Ole Miss, and the travel bag selection. It is top-notch. HewlettDunn.com, but stop by and visit and say hello at 111 North Center Street, on the historic square in Collierville at Hewlett and Dunn.
Well, let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk about what's trending.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
The Crazy Coop, America's premier wing destination, has 27 delicious flavors to choose from and counting. Like the Buffalo Ranch, a perfect combo of ranch seasoning with a little kick. Mango Habanero, sweet taste of mango followed by the heat. Or sweet maple bourbon. The taste will remind you of chicken and waffles. And that's just 3 of the amazing 27 chicken wing seasonings that you can get at the Crazy Coop in Bartlett at 7199 Stage Road. And now open the Crazy Coop Express at 1315 Ridgeway off Poplar. Some like it hot. How about the Crazy Sweet Lemon Pepper Hot or Crazy Suicide? Can't take the heat? Get the 4-cheese roasted garlic or barbecue bacon bourbon. Ask about the $9.99 lunch special. Now those are some crazy good prices. The Crazy Coop, 2 locations, 7199 Highway 64 between Applin and Kirby Whitten and 1315 Ridgeway off Poplar. Family owned and operated, The Crazy Coop, America's premier wing destination.
At Sissy's Log Cabin, you'll find only spectacular natural diamonds that will remain treasured for generations. That promise is now symbolized by the engraved Sissy signature and sapphire, representing our guarantee of extraordinary service, selection, experience, and quality. Stop by any of our stores or visit sissyslogcabin.com and experience the Sissy's promise for yourself. Find a jeweler for a lifetime, only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry, and they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Bartlett Small Engine has free pickup and delivery both at your home and curbside for lawnmowers, blowers, edgers, and any small engine. Call 901-386-9779.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-5795. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-5795. That's 800-583-5795. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Looking for your next car? Give Car Corner a try. Car Corner, located at 2653 Mount Moriah. They specialize in cars under $15,000. Bad credit? No problem at Car Corner. CarCornerMemphis.com. That's CarCornerMemphis.com. They even have cash cars under $7,000. That's Car Corner at 2653 Mount Moriah. CarCornerMemphis.com. Look for the building with the teal green roof.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawild Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. A couple of EMS calls just in the last few minutes. Still looking pretty good right now, even over here in the construction. We've been watching it closely. On 55, it's moving right now up through that construction zone between South Parkway and Macklemore all the way up to Crump. Traffic still moving right now south of Memphis down 55 into DeSoto County. There's still some routes out here that are still untrustworthy. Be careful. If it's snow covered, there's most likely some ice under there, so be careful. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. They want you to know they are your Valentine's Day headquarters. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn, Boot & Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Baby, here I am, I'm a man on the scene. I can give you what you want, but you got to come home with me.
Brett, I don't know what it is, but it's hard to believe that we're only 30 minutes away from tip-off between Memphis and USF tonight. These, 2.5 hours have flown by already. We only got 30 minutes left in the show, but in 30 minutes, we'll be sitting watching the Tigers see if they can extend that win streak to 11.
And a real Memphis feel tonight, nationally, for locally and nationally for the Tigers at 6 o'clock and the Grizzlies in Minneapolis to play the T-Wolves at 9 on TNT. So we're going to get a lot of that. I think it's imperative for the Tigers to get off to a quick start tonight. It's not their fault. It's not anybody's fault. It's for safety. Don't fall prey to a sleepier, less than rocking FedEx Forum for a Tigers games, not even the fight song, not even the pep band. That's out of safety precautions. Everybody understands it. Please don't be that guy tonight that tweets the empty seats.
No.
Please don't be that guy.
Yeah, it's gonna happen, I'm sure. I just hope it's not a Memphis fan doing it. I could see
because it's unnecessary.
Another fan base doing it, though.
And the camera crew at FedEx Forum that largely works independently for when everybody comes through. It's not always the same ones, but it's a lot of times the same ones. They know to have those guarded crowd shots tonight. Sometimes you do that for less than robust, sold out crowds. But tonight, I don't want to see the tweet out there of, oh, look at that terrible crowd. It's for a reason. We're into, just really historic crummy weather that we've had, and we got end in sight. If nothing else, springtime. But I think we've got it. I think we got it Monday or Tuesday. But it's going to be a while, and when the whole refreeze thing does its deal tonight, it's going to be dangerous again.
Yeah, it really is. Tomorrow morning is going to be rough for anybody that has to get out. But I think tonight, being an ESPN game, I'm sure I don't know who's on the call tonight for the game, but I'm sure they'll lay it out, very clear before the game starts. But for X fan and wherever that flips on ESPN, 20 minutes into the game and they see, whoa, 10th ranked team in the country and the place is empty. I'm sure you'll see something on social media about it.
I saw the announce crew, and we get them a lot. It's the ESPN crew of Kevin Brown and John Crispin.
Yeah, and they're good. I think
I love
those
Kevin
guys
Brown.
Kevin Brown does a really, really good job.
He was the announcer that was embroiled in the Oriole controversy.
Yes,
last summer.
But no, they and we get them a lot, and they are very good.
How many rules would John Crispin want to change tonight?
Oh, jeez.
He's big on changing the rules, isn't he?
Yes, he is. No, I'm excited about tonight, and man, who I've been worried about, and I think Johnny Radio earlier today mentioned it about 7 times. Man, if Dave Voloshin's going to be down there tonight, he better leave right now, man. I hope Dave got there all right.
Dave would get there. Would get there. He's used to the cold weather.
That's right.
He loves telling us that. That playing youth hockey.
That's right, youth hockey. I love it. I hear it every time I wear my sweater.
Every time.
Talking about hockey, I love it.
Every youth hockey participant was really proud of it.
Oh yeah, and they were all the best on their team. They were great hockey players growing up, and then something derailed it, an injury here or there, they couldn't play anymore. I'm
proud of my little league football team, so they're proud of youth hockey.
That's right, so that's all that matters. Brett, I'll be honest, I don't really remember much of my little league football teams. So
we never lost.
Oh, that's great.
Ever.
That's great. Winners, I guess. But no, I'm really looking forward to see this game tonight. And to see, I've mentioned it a couple times now, what Memphis team shows up. I think, we were talking to Greg earlier today, and I'm kind of with Greg. I think there is something there, especially early in the game when it comes to the lack of fans that will be in attendance. I think there is something there, but also at the same time, I think after the first 5 or 10 minutes, as a player, you got to get used to that and say, okay, there's nobody here. We're going to play and we're going to do our best. And Brett, honestly, and this could be a weird way of looking at it, with all of the older guys on this roster, a lot of those guys were playing college basketball during that COVID year when nobody was allowed to be at these games. So for a lot of these guys, they're probably used to playing with nobody for at least that one season.
Yeah, they are. And tonight for Memphis, the most important thing is worrying about Memphis and winning this game, and then on to Tulane on Sunday. We'll get more into that tomorrow, but that has been quite the place in the last few years. And then the week off that we've talked a lot about. The Grizzlies tonight, my expectations really for the next 42 are it's pretty low. It's just where we are.
Yeah, no, it's very low, and I think it should be. I mean, when you have this many injuries and you're playing, the guys are playing, I think we can all say that we've been, it's been really fun to watch G.G. Jackson and what he's done over these last 2 games, but nobody in that organization thought that they were going to be having, to rely on G.G. Jackson to play these type of minutes at the NBA level this year. This was supposed to be a season where he stayed down in South Haven, developed, worked on his game. He's supposed to be a freshman in college right now. I don't think they thought you're going to see Zaire this much, or really any of these guys that are playing this many minutes. And Jake Gilliard, who not just this stint, but earlier in the season with John Morant and then all the injuries that followed that at the beginning of the season, he was out there as the starting point guard a lot of nights. And so nobody expected that before the season started, but you have to deal with those. And now it's about development and seeing what you've got in these young guys.
NFL playoffs get started back this Saturday. 2 games on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, and I think the favorite to win it all I hadn't seen odds, but I think it's Baltimore. It should be
Yeah.
with the MVP, home field advantage for these two games if they win them, and then into the Super Bowl in Las Vegas with the Harbaugh boys going for
How about that?
the daily double of coaching of all time. The 21st century thing, teams that have won it in the 21st century. Well, Baltimore, they've won it twice. Not only that, Baltimore and Tampa Bay both still alive to win it again. And they've never lost a Super Bowl. 2-0 for Tampa Bay in Super Bowls and 2-0 for Baltimore. They're the only two that can do it. And well, Green Bay can. They've won it in 21st century. But we could get a new one. We could get a new one with Buffalo that's never won it, Detroit that's never won it, and San Francisco. They've won it a bunch, but they haven't in the 21st century. They could add to it. We got a new one in baseball. We got a new one in college football. We got a new one last spring in the NBA.
Yep.
Could we get it in NFL in San Francisco is probably the most likely best hope.
I think San Francisco is probably the best, and I've got some odds for you, Brett, if you would like those. Super Bowl odds right now. The 49ers are the favorite to win it all at plus 175. Ravens.
Do they remember the Baltimore game?
Well, that's a really good question. Baltimore not far behind them, though, but still a bigger gap than I thought it would be. Plus 270 for the Ravens. Next closest is the Bills at plus 490, and then the Chiefs at plus 700. Lamar Jackson, though, is the favorite right now for Super Bowl MVP at plus 330. Brock Purdy is right behind him at plus 370. And Brett, you mentioned earlier, Super Bowl matchup. You said Texans and Detroit Lions as a Super Bowl matchup. Right now, that is plus 5,500. You put $10 on that hit, and those are the two teams in the Super Bowl. $550 coming back at you.
I don't know if I like it.
I don't know if I like it that much, Brett. No, it's that would be a long shot for sure.
That is, I don't like throwing money away.
No, I don't either. But good odds. I mean, if you did like that and had a good hunch on it, that's not bad. But interesting to see 49ers as the favorite, but then Lamar Jackson as the MVP. I think a lot of that is people who are betting on the 49ers to win it. They're split on MVP with Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy, and that's probably bringing that down a little.
I mentioned the other day about Patrick Mahomes with the most passing yards of any current player in the playoffs. The most by anyone's Aaron Rodgers still playing. You go to that running back list, and the one with the most active rushing yards in the playoffs is Derrick Henry.
Crazy.
You can't find anybody from this weekend. If somebody this weekend had a 200-yard rushing game, would really vault them.
Yeah, no, it really would. And, Derrick Henry, the name that once these games are over is going to be the name that's going to be talked about a lot of, where does he land?
In Dallas.
And Dallas, I think I would love. I already told you, Brad, if he does sign with Dallas, I'm buying a Derrick Henry jersey. You can believe that. And I heard even today.
Well, he won't wear 22 in Dallas.
No, he will not do that. Brad, I did hear this earlier today that some people up in Seattle are saying Vrabel is a option that they would like to see as the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks.
I think he will have really good options,
so.
and all that to heat up. I thought the Cowboy News would come kind of like it did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you called it.
We're really waiting on Belichick, really waiting on Harbaugh. I think Vrabel would be third in that wait list, don't you?
I think so. I think, like you said.
Or will Pete Carroll pop up somewhere?
Well, that's a really good question. I think we would probably get Vrabel news before we got Pete Carroll. What I think would probably happen is you get an announcement in Seattle of who their next coach is, and then you might hear of something, Pete Carroll leaving to take another job. But it's going to be interesting. I mean, with all this now, it sounds, Bill Belichick has now met twice with the Falcons, and sounds like, that's what we have thought. And Brett, you called it right after New Year's that you thought that's where he would land. So it's going to be a lot that's about to start popping off.
And I say that about Derrick Henry in Dallas wearing 22. I was thinking Emmitt Smith.
Yeah.
But now that's not necessarily retired Ring of Honor. It's a little the language on that leaves them to where they could reissue it if they wanted to. Is Deion Sanders in the Cowboys Ring of Honor?
You know, Brett, I do not know that.
Because I know they have a 21. I saw a 21 out there last week because when I see those old familiar numbers, I know Tony Dorsett's 33 is issued, and I know he's in Ring of Honor.
He is not in the Ring of Honor.
Deion is not?
He is not. Does not look like it.
What do you got to do to get in?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Took Jimmy Johnson a long time.
He did. Well, yeah, but I think that was I think there were other reasons that it took him so long to get in there. Now it's a good
Vanity
question.
can really be something.
It sure can. It's sad, but it really can be an issue.
And Jerry Jones, he is really set up now for just the scrutiny, and he's used to it. He's got a thick hide, but he'll get it going forward with McCarthy, and
he sure will.
Just any stumble. And one thing about it, you can't fire him though. You can't
No,
fire Jerry Jones.
No, that's one guy out of everybody you can fire. It's one guy you can't fire, and so no. But you're right. I mean, there's going to be a lot of scrutiny. There's going to be, every time there's a mistake, it's going to be called out, and they're going to take a hard look at it. I think a lot of fans will push back on them keeping him at every single little mistake that happens. And now, the biggest question is, with the Cowboys already saying they're going to bring back McCarthy, what happens now in Philadelphia with Nick Sirianni?
Yeah, and all the criticism of Jerry Jones, and they have a GM. He just is not very forward. Will McClay's the GM, but he just doesn't have the prominence around the league that a lot of other GMs. We know who mostly shops for, buys, and cooks the all the food, and that's Jerry Jones. That roster is fine. It hadn't been draft day disasters.
No.
It hadn't been even free agent and look, it's worked out for Dak Prescott.
It has.
From where he was taken in the draft to the player he's become.
Absolutely.
But it's been coaching and coaching staying.
Yeah, no, it's certainly not this roster. I mean, you look at this roster, and there's a reason that people, year in and year out have this team, winning the division and going deep in the playoffs, and some people even saying Super Bowl. It's because of the roster that they've constructed, and just unfortunately they cannot get over that hump, and now you don't get over that hump next year. I'm not saying Super Bowl or bust, but you don't go far into the playoffs, and certainly if you don't get out of the first weekend, there's certainly going to be a lot of changes.
I mean, he
that
tried Bill Parcells as head coach.
Yeah, sure did. It's interesting, but that's the Dallas Cowboys for you. But let's go ahead and get to our final break of the day. When we come back, we'll wrap up today's show with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Hi, this is Jonah Gamble, left guard for University of Memphis football. Let us help you use your home's value for all those projects or vacations you've been putting off. Now you can borrow up to 100% loan to value. No closing costs for loans $50,000 or less. Online banking accessible. Interest-only payments for the first 10 years. You can apply at southernsecurity.org or by calling our member service team at 901-452-7900. Southern Security is an equal housing lender. Southern Security is a proud sponsor of the University of Memphis.
Roofs, roofs, and more roofs. Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair simply because they don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance claims for policyholders each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. Call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates, consultation, and claim repairs. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, diagnosing problems, and estimating is second to none, commercial and residential. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. All you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and Mulehide with labor warranties up to 50 years on all of our jobs. Metro Builders provides roof repairs across the Mid-South. Call Metro Builders to schedule your inspection free. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 1717.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
All 650 acquisition fee, Forte RE722812, MSRP 21590, Sorrento PG 232710, MSRP 33010, Telluride RG 462822, MSRP 38705. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/31/2024 with approved credit dealer stock only.
Hey, Jeff Allen, Happy New Year, dude. Hey, what's happening over there at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
Let's start the new year off right in your new Kia with 41 MPG Highway 2024 Kia Forte LXS $239 a month, $27.99 due at signing. Got a big family? Get a 2023 Kia Sorrento LX $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing. Plus a 2024 Kia Telluride LX $449 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36 months lease.
And every Gossett Kia comes with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
And stop by and see the all-new EV9 all-electric SUV. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMTMoriah.com.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Once again, here are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
If I go crazy, then will you still call me Superman? If I'm alive and well, will you be there holding my hand? I'll keep you by my side with my superhuman mind and kryptonite.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, Brett, what I learned today, according to Front Office Sports and their Twitter page, the Oakland A's leaders are touring ballparks in Salt Lake City and Sacramento this week, exploring potential venues for the 2025-2027 seasons. The team's lease in Oakland runs out after the 2024 season, and their brand new ballpark, the $1.5 billion ballpark in Vegas, it won't be done until 2028. We know the tension in Oakland that is built between the city leaders and Major League Baseball over the A's leaving Oakland. Doesn't sound like the A's want to stay around in Oakland longer than they have to, but they're kind of hung out to dry after this season.
Bad.
Too bad for them. So maybe we could be seeing the Salt Lake City A's for a couple of years until Vegas is ready.
I guess you could. If I'm Oakland, the rental terms would be very pro city of Oakland.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. 100%.
I would make it. If you want to play here, it's going to cost you. What a disaster for Major League Baseball. I learned that John Calipari, he has 400 wins now as head coach at Kentucky. He's a long way from the Baron. But one thing that hadn't changed, only one national championship, mentioned it earlier, since 2012. That's the only one for the SEC. Like the Cowboys, Bama, Yankees, Kentucky, they play for championships, national championships. He may win it this year. He may even start the NCAA tournament here in Memphis, where his Memphis fan club will just slobber all over him for 4 days. But I don't know that he wins it all this year or not.
We'll just have to wait and see. Some really good freshman play for him this year for sure. What I could have done without Brett, you and Greg mentioned this earlier, and I saw it a couple hours ago and could not believe my eyes, but Miami tight end Cam McCormick announces that he will return for his 9th season of college basketball. Get this, he was in the same recruiting class as Nick Bosa and Jalen Hurts. Nick Bosa has been in the NFL since 2019. Cam McCormick is getting ready for his 9th season in college football.
And they wouldn't let DeAndre Williams play one more year. That was just too much for him. I could have done without this. Adam Silver has talked about it. He's produced the records. He's produced not only the league's review of it, but an independent review. There's no study anywhere that says the maintenance and the days off and all the resting of players has one tangible effect on cause of effect of injury. Even the travel studies have been gone into by the league and by independent people. There's no correlation whatsoever. These big babies need to play. You're paid to play. People expect you to play, and with whether it's the MVP and the amount of games they have to appear in or anything else, the league's got to crack down on this, and the stars have to play.
Yeah, where are you beaming tonight?
Beam me to La Quinta out in California, to the American Express golf tournament for the PGA Tour, to the desert for these next few days, and try to thaw out at La Quinta at PGA West and at the Pete Dye course. 80 degrees and out of our version of Siberia.
I love it, Brett. That is such a great idea, but beam me to FedEx Forum. I don't need to drive on these streets. Just beam me there so that I can watch the Tigers and what
even be safe in the beaming machine tonight.
Yeah, beaming machine. I mean, it could get affected, but I do want to see this 10th-ranked Memphis team and see what they can do in their attempt to extend their win streak to 11 games. That game's about to tip off on ESPN. The University of Memphis is advising everyone to stay home and watch it on ESPN. That one tips off at 6 o'clock.
Tigers against South Florida downtown at FedEx Forum. Stay away. Be safe. Light night, but some late night college basketball games. 11 games tip off at 9 or later.
How about that?
And 2 tipping off at 10 or later.
I love that.
I'm going to have to trust you to watch all that.
Oh, Brett, you can believe I will have us covered tomorrow for all the late night college basketball games. Should be a good night. College basketball, NBA, Grizzlies later tonight, 9 o'clock on TNT. Should be a really, really fun night of sports watching. But that's all the time we have. Enjoy your night. Stay safe out there. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.
There's no better time than the new year to resolve to protect your identity and finances. Identity thieves can take out loans in your name. Seriously, take over